radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
All right. Well. Fade to Black, Monday. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Here we go. Today is July 30th, 2018. 212 days into the new year. Just 153 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Yeah. I had a busy weekend. How was yours? I'm running on like 2 hours sleep tonight. This should be epic. Tonight, I talked about this last week. Tonight we have very special guest Claudia Ackley is here. We're going to talk Bigfoot tonight. Her experiences, sightings. That's right. Videotaped, filmed. And her big California lawsuit. That's right, about Bigfoot. And this hit the news here in Southern California. It probably went national. When everything went down, I'm going to say, I'm going to guess and say February. So it was about 4 months ago. 4.5 months ago. And I was riding around in my car, listening to talk radio, and heard this news break on the story, and I went, wow. Well, Claudia is with us tonight, and so we're going to go through all aspects of her story, and which involves her daughters, too, as well, and their sightings. I'm going to let Claudia tell the story. It's incredible, and so she's going to be with us at the bottom of the hour. Tomorrow night is Dr. Michael P. Masters, and his career and what he does, that's one thing. He is a professor. That's one aspect of him. But we're going to talk about his new book, and it's called Identified Flying Objects. Not what you may think. Okay? Now, all of it is up at jimmychurchradio.com, and you can go and check out the details behind Dr. Masters. But it's pretty interesting, and his take on things, exactly what I talk about on this show. So that's tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, check this out. Finally, we're going to do live Ouija here on the show. That's right. Karen Dahlman's going to be here, and we're going to do live Ouija. We're going to handle this a couple of different ways. First off, it's going to be myself. Okay, I'm going to do the Ouija with Karen. live. And so I've got camera feeds coming from her. I'll be able to watch the Ouija board. This is live radio. I'm not going to broadcast that or figure out ways to get that done. But I am going to do that. And I will also take some of your questions, too, as well. We might do some phone calls. We've certainly got Twitter in the chat rooms and email where we can pull and lift your questions from. But it's going to be me. I've always wanted to do this. So that'll be Wednesday night. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. And then Thursday night is a very special Fader night. We'll have John Rappaport here in his No More Fake Newsroom Live. But we're going to have a special guest. Matthew Ryan is going to be with us, taking your phone calls. And we're going to talk about ESETI and Soul Tech and what he's going to be teaching up there. And it'll be an opportunity for you to speak to Ryan directly. He is so cool and so talented, and he's going to be teaching up there at ESETI, which I cannot believe is actually next week. I don't know how we got to that point, but somehow we did. So don't forget about Soul Tech. I want to public service message on this because I got a couple of emails today and some over the weekend asking about the meal situation up there at ESETI. And one of the emails I got, well, you know what? I don't want to get into details. I don't want to embarrass anybody. But let me just say this. Where ESETI is, and it's in Trout Lake, population of like 2, okay? And this is a ranch. So we have the best caterer that is possible. I cannot wait for the food, actually. It's the highlight of the trip for me. That and the ferries. But you are going to be at ESETI for 4 straight days. You're going to need to, and you've got to get this done because ESETI is next week. You need to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner lined up. You go to the Soul Tech website and get the catering ordered. It's not going to be a situation where you're going to be able to just order food or go to restaurants or that kind of thing. This is a ranch. This is a serious public service message. Get your food ordered or you are going to be hungry. And if you think I'm going to split my gourmet catering with you, nah, it ain't going to happen that way. Okay, so get your food ordered for Soul Tech, and it's coming up. It's next week. All right, there you go. That's our amazing week here. I just came off of hosting Coast to Coast Saturday and Sunday, and it was an amazing weekend for me over at Coast. I really enjoy hosting there, but Steve Neal and Whitley Strieber on Saturday, and last night Barrett Brown, both Steve and Barrett went the full 4 hours on the show. Love it. It was just incredible. So that was that. I got home last night at 3 a.m., probably hit the hay at around 4. Was up at 9 working on the show this week, and here we are tonight. I'm back live on the air. It's just like, man. Oh, man. Woo. And this week, next week, and the month of August, I was writing over at OnStellar today. I posted an article over there. You should go check it out about this month of August going into September. 0 days off. It's going to be a wild run to get through all of this because we've got Fade to Black this week and then and next week, and then we go up to ESETI for the week. Turn around, come back, Fade to Black. Then I have then I fly over to Denver, Colorado for Dimensions of Disclosure. Come back immediately after that. Fade to Black that night, which is Monday. Fade to Black that week. Then I've got Coast to Coast AM at the end of August, and then the week after that, the first week of September, September 1st, I'm back over at Coast to Coast. So that's it. From now until the first week of September, it's no days off. No days off. And we live in the now. It's more important to worry about today than tomorrow. But it's daunting what we've got going on over the next 4 to 5 weeks. But that's it. The energy comes from all of you. And I want to thank you. You are the best audience in the world, and you are the drive that keeps us going. Think about that. It's the force. It's the force that keeps us going. And when you get over to onstellar.com, ONSTELLAR.com, send me your friend request, get your profile picture up. And when you get your profile picture done, send me your friend request. Come and hang out with us over at OnStellar, the next great social media platform. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can do what you want over at Facebook. It's quickly disappearing for us and the rest of the world. You know, I never thought that Facebook would go away, but it's in danger of doing just that. Did you know MySpace still has, and I read this today, 25 to 50 million visitors per month. MySpace. Yeah, that's a fact. You can vet that one. And then, of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel right there, and everything is over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can also email me, jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. And if you want to hang out in the sandbox on Twitter, that is hashtag F2B. Okay, now, breaking news. Check this out. A secretive California company carried out a suborbital launch from Alaska from their spaceport last week on July 20th. But a week after the event, few details about what happened are clear, including its outcome. The company's called Astrospace, carried out a launch at 6 p.m. Eastern, July 20th, of its Rocket 1 vehicle from Pacific Spaceport Complex on Kodiak Island in Alaska. And this is where it gets interesting, because the launch does not appear on the list of licensed launches maintained by the FAA's AST. That's the Administration of Space Travel. I'm not kidding. I think that's what that is. On its website, even though the list includes launches, both orbital and suborbital, that took place since the Astra space event. We don't know. Interesting, right? Interesting. All right. Now, also breaking news. I did this all last week. It's so fun to do this. River Moon Coffee has a 20% discount on all of their offerings. They're calling Take a Break. Take a coffee break. All you have to do is shop rivermooncoffee.com, and everything is there. Use the promo code Coffee Break, 2 words, Coffee Break. 20% off of everything, including Fade to Black Blend. And they haven't told me that the discount is over. So until I hear that it's over, I'm going to keep doing this. So there you go. All right. Tampa Rick says, uncombed hair, 3 days, stubby beard on face. Are you talking about me? I shaved yesterday. I shaved for Coast to Coast. You can't see me. No bunker cam. Still don't know what's going on with that. We worked on everything on Friday and thought we had things solved, but there's something going on with. It's not us, by the way. The stream is live, but I just stopped it tonight. I'm not going to get all frustrated with it. It's the way it goes. We'll have it fixed tomorrow. And don't forget Soul Tech. If you're going to make it, I don't know if there's any tickets left. You can go and check out SoulTechGathering.com. But I do need everybody to get their food situated with our caterer. Okay, this is DEFCON 5. Go to SoulTechGathering.com and order your food, or you are going to go hungry. You will be doing Doritos and water for 4 days, and you really need to think about that. Matthew Ryan's going to be with us here on Thursday for Fader Night. He's going to be speaking up at Soul Tech. So is Jason Quitt and James Gilliland. Michaela Sheldon. I cannot wait for that. Teresa Yanaris is going to be there with her mermaid hair. Holly Marie. Mary Gabrielle, John London, Dana Harvey are going to be there. Billy Carson is going to be there. Laura Cantu and Christine Contini. And when I think about Laura and Christine and those shows that we did on Fade to Black a couple of months ago, how amazing were those? Laura Cantu and Christine, huh? They are going to be teaching up there at Soul Tech. So, SoulTechGathering.com. See what you can do about scrounging up tickets. I don't know if we have day passes. I heard rumors about that. Well, if you want to do a day pass and go and check that out, go to SoulTechGathering.com. A week later, I'm going to be at Dimensions of Disclosure, DOD, in Loveland, Colorado, August 17th through the 19th. That's Corey Good's event with David Wilcock and Emery Smith. Teresa's going to be there, too, as well, and Gerald O'Donnell and Jordan Sather and 20 other speakers and presenters, DimensionsofDisclosure.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have over 895 archive shows, custom apps, Apple, Android, all platforms, just $2 per month. JimmyChurchRadio.com. Click on the podcast banner. And you can also become a Fadernaut. That's easy. Go to our membership section on the site where you're not going to get the bunker cam. Commercial-free, downloadable archives. And if you get the Game Changer, you get all of that autographed Fade to Black gear. All right? And those hats, I'm just letting you know, they're not for sale anywhere on the site. Okay? You can only get it with that Game Changer subscription. And don't forget about all of our sponsors, Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, Rivermoon Coffee, Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls, New Manna Food Storage, promo code Jimmy10. And Bearing Optics. Oh, I'm going to be taking up to Soul Tech. I've got some really cool, what do you call it, stargazing Celestron binoculars. And, of course, I've got my Bearing Optics night vision that I'm going to be taking up there. And if you want night vision, you should go to Bearing Optics right now and get something delivered before you head up to Soul Tech. We're going to be doing night vision all night long. Look at this picture. Look at that picture. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. That picture was taken last week, just to let you know. That was taken last week. And there you go. Yeah, it's just a week old. I look pretty good, right? That was on Christmas. There you go. Okay, I'm just letting everybody know that is retweeting this right now. And wondering about that image. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, not bad for 55. I don't think so. Okay. Where am I at? Okay, before I get to everything that I need to talk about tonight, it was an amazing weekend over at Coast to Coast. And leaning into this week... because tonight we have Claudia Ackley here, and tomorrow night, Dr. Michael P. Masters, and Wednesday night, Karen Dahlman. And how weird is our lineup for this week? You need to think about that for a second. Does it feel strange to you? Hang on, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Today, Paul Anka is 77 years old. Put your head on my shoulder, right? Diana. He also wrote Tom Jones' biggest hit, She's a Lady. Vivica Fox is 54 today. Whatever happened to Tom Green? You remember Tom Green? Whatever happened to that guy? I don't know. But today he's 47. And also today, director Christopher Nolan is 48. He's really good, too. Inception, Interstellar. Happy birthday, Christopher Nolan. On this day in history, OTD, here you go. Write this one down, folks. 1976. Do you remember Bruce Jenner? Because on this day in 1976, Bruce Jenner won the gold in the decathlon at the Montreal Olympics. His 8,617 points set a world record for the event and got him on the cover of the Wheaties box. That's right. Bruce Jenner. Fader fact. The state of Ohio gives out different colored license plates for those convicted of a DUI. That sucks. That sucks. All right. Do you know who Tim Daly is? Let me hit this coffee while you think about that. Tim Daly. Tim Daly is an anti-gay marriage activist and former senior fellow for the lobbying group, the Family Research Council. He's out there right now. He's way out there, by the way. He's out there right now describing Bigfoot as a demonic virtual reality projection. And I'm not kidding. You may think I am, but I am not. Daly explains everything in his new book, and the book is called The Paranormal Conspiracy, The Truth About Ghosts, Aliens, and Mysterious Beings. And it's a great title. It's a great title, right? Makes you want to read it. It grabs you. Right? It's so misleading, though. Here is a quote from his recent public statements. He's out there doing a book tour, right? Thinks he is. And here's a quote. The paranormal conspiracy seeks to subvert and ultimately transform the rational view of the world through mysterious entities that thrive on instability, confusion, and fear. A demonic virtual reality is taking place. End quote. I'm just like, what? Huh? Say what? Daily. And before you ask yourself if he really believes what he is saying, he continues with this. Just listen. Quote, number one, you have many, many reliable observers who have seen Bigfoot. These are not kids on a prank. The second thing is a virtual absence of any evidence of their existence. So it shows that what's going on is not really a physical phenomenon. It's real, but it's a projection. It's a demonic virtual reality. But it's not nuts and bolts, or in this case, flesh and blood. End quote. Oh my goodness. I'll say it for Daly. Oh my God. For Daly, Bigfoot isn't biological. But for him, it's part of a larger paranormal activity. I don't know how else to put it. Including UFO sightings and alien abduction. And for him, it's a conspiracy with the biblical devil. Seriously, I'm not making this up, and it gets better, too. Quote, UFO researchers are tied into nuts and bolts three-dimensional existence of these creatures. They're not open to spiritual explanation because then you'd have to discuss the reality of evil. Of evil. Tim Daly. Incredible. So the question, the obvious zone that you go into is why, Tim? Why? You need to come back to us, Tim. But he has an answer for that, too. And I'm quoting once again. It's part of the devil's modus operandi. He has always used this kind of phenomena to, once again, destabilize, endanger, fear, open us up to the possibility of other realities, other beings. Then we begin getting involved with demonic spirits. All through history, there have been many, many varieties of beings that are primarily spiritual beings who have terrorized civilizations and people, non-Christian cultures. Non-Christian cultures are very aware of this because they have to deal with these beings all the time. And that's what they have shamans for, to hold these spirit beings at bay. We're getting to that stage here in the United States. Daly goes on to say that Ouija boards and ayahuasca are demonic interference. And I guess that explains this week on Fade to Black. And I thought it was just Rita and I, kicking around ideas by ourselves. It's demons. It's demons. I just didn't know that. It's demons making me drink this coffee. It's demons telling me about Ouija boards. It's demons bringing on our guest tonight, Claudia Ackley, to talk about Bigfoot. It's demons. I had no idea. And this for me is where I find this so interesting, because Mr. Daly, let me just go back and say this. He took the UFO, alien, Bigfoot, Ouija board story and injected demons into it, just like we would go back throughout history and look at ancient Egypt or other cultures and wonder about what they are seeing in the skies, right, in the heavens, and this knowledge that is coming down. And you go back and you look at ancient aliens and you just interject, E.T., alien gray, flying saucer, replaced with angels or whatever. And you have a pretty interesting story, and it helps answer those questions. Well, he takes that out, takes our version of it, and now injects demons into our research. It's like 3 times removed, 3 degrees of separation. And he's done the exact same thing, and now he writes a book about it. You need to think about that. No research, nothing going into it. He just takes our stuff and puts his stuff over the top of it. A layer. It's so obvious. But, if I'm going to buy into Tim's version of everything, then I'm just going to say this. I guess that I don't have an original idea out there, right? These shows that we're lining up each week are clearly demonically influenced, and I just had no idea. I am possessed. Oh, man. I would love Mr. Daly just to walk a day in my shoes and see what's really going on and have him put the demonic spin on everything. I just find that amazingly interesting. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Claudia Ackley is here, and we're going to talk about her Bigfoot lawsuit with the state of California and her sightings, and with her family, too, as well. Tomorrow night, Dr. Michael P. Masters is here talking about his new book, Identified Flying Objects. That's going to be an amazing night tomorrow night. And then, of course, Wednesday, live Ouija with Karen Dahlman. Thursday night, Fader night, John Rappaport and Matthew Ryan's going to be with us all night. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with me. I'll be right back with our guest, Claudia Ackley.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at getthetea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at getthetea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at getthetea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. Getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. An amazing week that we have here on Fade to Black. Tonight, Claudia Ackley is here to talk about her Bigfoot experiences and her California lawsuits. Tomorrow night, Dr. Michael P. Masters joins us and his book, Identified Flying Objects. Wednesday night, live Ouija board right here with Karen Dahlman. Thursday, Fader Night with John Rappaport and special guest Matthew Ryan, talking about soul tech. But tonight, it's Claudia Ackley. She lives right here in Southern California in Crestline. She's a single mom of 2 beautiful girls who are honor students, by the way. She worked at Hoag Hospital for 16 years, working with cancer patients, and also worked in the pharmacy as a technician 3. In 1996, her life changed forever when she was hiking Upper Falls in Woodline. And in the middle of the night, she had her first glimpse of what she thought was Bigfoot. We'll talk about that. Claudia then started to research the Sasquatch phenomena. She has had 2 other sightings. The first one was in Washington State with a friend who filmed the creature that was about 75 feet in front of them. And the second sighting was on March 27th, 2017, when Claudia was walking with her daughters on a trail in Crestline, when they ran into a giant Neanderthal-looking man that was 30 feet up in a tree, and her daughter, that was behind her, videotaped it twice. She and her daughters were safe, but they called authorities to report the Sasquatch sighting. But they insisted that she saw a bear. That's right. That denial inspired Ackley to file a lawsuit against the California Department of Fish and Wildlife and the State Natural Resources Agency, and accusing California of dereliction of duty for failing to protect Bigfoot and infringing on her constitutional rights. And tonight, we're going to share Claudia's story. And I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Claudia Ackley. Claudia, good evening.
Good evening, and thank you so much for taking your time, everybody, to listen to my story. And Jimmy, you are the best of on the radio. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
I really
Claudia.
appreciate it.
Well, before we get started, I've got to do the first-time guest disclaimer. So let's get that out of the way. Claudia, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where the conversation starts, it starts, and where it ends, and we're going to end as friends. That's it. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Thank you so much.
Now, as you know, I'm a host here in Southern California on Premier Radio Networks and iHeartRadio. And when I'm driving around in the car, believe it or not, I listen to KFI, right? AM 640. I can't get enough of talk radio. And I'm driving around, a few months ago, and I hear the news come on, and the news was about you and your lawsuit with the state of California. And I'm like, holy crap, this is great, right? So it is. It picked up, it went viral. It was covered all over the place. And I listened to the story over and over, and I was fascinated with it because that's a big chunk, right? Taking on the state of California in this fashion. So hats off to you for that. But we're gonna discuss all of that tonight. But of course, there's reasons for the lawsuit. So let's back up a little bit. Before your Bigfoot sighting, before everything that went down the first time, which was many, many years ago, did you ever think about Bigfoot or UFOs or what was
no. I was never a sci-fi girl, and this taught me a huge lesson in life, because when I would hear people talk about like ghosts and UFOs, I would like roll my eyes and go, oh my gosh, like they don't exist. Kind of taught me a lesson not to be judgmental. And I was never a sci-fi type girl. And I remember seeing like the Patterson footage, Patty, when I was a kid, and I saw it and I was like, that's scary, but I never even thought of it, after years and years, once you get older. You just hear stories and you forget about it. But when it happens to you, it's so incredibly surreal that it just it taught me a lot of lessons in life, that life is way short. You need to be happy. If you're like not a happy person, find your happiness, find your mission in life. I believe we all have a mission in life. And that was a big lesson for me. And I love helping people most of anything. I believe that when we have an experience, the best thing that we could all do is help ourselves learn about it and then help others with it, and that was like a huge life-changing. Actually, the huge life-changing for me was my second sighting, well, the one I had in Washington State, because at that point I knew they are real. Like, this is not like just, they're not pretend, they're not a myth. They are real. He was 75 feet in front of me. And it was an amazing experience. And it was also filmed, and it wasn't being filmed by me. It was a beautiful woman named Barbara Shoup, and she's got a YouTube channel. And she started her YouTube channel. And what happened was in 1996, we had that experience when I went with my roommates. We hiked up Upper Falls. And all we were concerned about back then was like bears, because they said there's a lot of bears and you got to hide your food. And we were being irresponsible at that time. We set up our tent after hiking about 6 hours with like 40 pounds of gear. So once we got to Upper Falls, we noticed that people would go up and take pictures and then go back down the trail. We were like the only dummies out there, like by ourselves, like with the tent. No cell phone, in those years, and before we went to bed that night, I looked at my roommate and I'm like, there's a box of granola bars in here. And he's like, oh, we'll be fine. Like, don't worry about it. So we were so tired. We fell asleep, and in the middle of the night, it literally sounded like this thing growled so enormous. And people that have experienced the growls of a Sasquatch, it literally sends like shivers down your spine, like it vibrates your body. So we both like sat up. There's three of us. My other roommate was just laying, and I got the flashlight. And at that point, I said, oh my gosh, there's a bear. I was thinking bear. I wasn't saying there's a Sasquatch, Mm-hmm. At that point, I said, get the granola bars and throw it as far as you can away from us, like, please. Well, my other roommate was praying at that moment. I'm getting the flashlight, and then I start to unzip the tent very slowly, and he got the box of granola bars. And I remember it being a green box for some reason, and he threw it as far as he could away from us, and we zipped up the tent again. And we were just like, we were so scared. We were kids, at that point in our early 20s. And within like a minute, I unzipped the tent slowly, and I started getting the flashlight, and I started like looking through the woodline just to see if I could see this like bear, quote bear. But what I saw and what my roommate saw was something huge bipedal walking into the woodline. And it was only like a few seconds. But that night we were so scared we didn't sleep. The minute like the sun rose, like we started packing. He looked around the area for the box of granola bars, couldn't find any wrappers. The box was gone. But that ruined our trip. And for years, I always wondered, like, what was that? And it always bothered me, And once I got older, I worked, and I was married for 20 years to a LA City fireman. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said, like, what was one of your most scariest, like, moments in your life? And I told her that was that. That was really scary. We felt really vulnerable out there. So she said, well, have you ever looked into, like, to Bigfoot? And I literally, like, laughed and said, like, what? Like, what do you mean Bigfoot? She goes, Google it, like learn about it. And I said, okay, that's a good idea. So I got on, Google at that point. I didn't have a Facebook account. I was very dedicated to being a stay-at-home mom at that point, raising my girls and being a wife. And I started researching, and I found this one person named Barbara Shoup. And she just started her YouTube channel. She's got a lot of activity where she lives. And I started learning from her, just watching her YouTubes. And we started messaging back and forth on YouTube. And she invited me out there. And she said, would you like to come and, like, learn would you want to talk about it? And I said, of course, because here in Southern California, it's funny, the region where we live, if you talk about Bigfoot here, people literally laugh at you and say, like, what medication are you on?
Right.
But if you go to Washington State or Oregon and you talk about, like, a Bigfoot, they'll say, oh, where did you have your encounter? It's almost like it's okay to talk about it. It's like you don't look like you're crazy. It's kind of a different type of culture. And basically, she invited us to go out there for 7 days, 7 nights. And I was scared because I've never went back to the woods after that Yosemite trip in 1996.
Well,
or 97, whatever year.
Let me jump in right there, Claudia. When you started your research and you're looking at images of Bigfoot, were you finding things that reminded you of what you saw back in 1996?
It was so quick and a little bit, but I still was like, I'm not even going to say it that what I saw in Yosemite was a Bigfoot because it was so quick and it was, it was a long time ago, but it bothered me because that doesn't look like a bear walking on two legs,
Well,
I still was not convinced that they even existed at that point at all.
Like, I know that it was at night and, it's midnight and you're in a tent.
Yeah.
But was this thing wearing clothes?
Oh no! It looked like fur, like big furry, like something. And I saw the back of it, not the front.
Right.
Walking into the wood line.
So you saw,
and then
you saw
it disappeared. Like
you saw Bigfoot. Like, you saw Bigfoot booty.
I saw the booty. I saw that. And we still were like, "What is like? Is that a bear walking on two legs?"
Right.
Like the next morning, we were like, "What did we just see?" And he's like, "It had to be a bear." But like bear on two legs, like, okay, like we were still curious about what happened, and that ruined our trip. We left home. Like we didn't stay in Yosemite it's like we literally left because we were scared. It was a really scary night.
Did you look for footprints or anything?
I didn't even know to look for footprints. We just kind of packed up, and I didn't know anything about anything about like the Sasquatch like species at all. Like I was just, what was that? And there's no way a grizzly bear, like there's no, like what on two legs walking away. But the thing that was scary is that it was like next to our tent, like literally like next to the fabric where we were sleeping. It wasn't like, it was like you could hear a growl like 30 feet away. It was right next to our tent, which was really scary for us,
Okay.
We think that we're in a tent and we're safe, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
Piece of material.
I'm a little jealous, actually. That first sighting, it's nothing like your first time. And that's pretty cool. It's close, and you are able to not only experience something that is of the paranormal or supernatural, but it's not a bear. Bears walk on two legs, but that's at the circus. That's at the circus. I don't think It was a giant raccoon. You know, I don't think it's any of that stuff. So, but
you know, like every day that went by after that year, there was not a day that went by that I didn't think of that moment.
Yeah.
And it was so stuck in my head. And I was like, you know, I wasn't in a very healthy, I'm going to say, I was in a toxic relationship for 20 years. And I was just like, am I going crazy? Like, what is going on? I felt drawn to it. I wanted to learn more about it if it was real at that point. So, like, when I'm the kind of person that I need to see things for myself in order for me to say, okay, that is real or not real. Like, when I went to see Barbara, when she invited us up there, I told her, I don't want you to show me any, like, old prints, any old structures. I want to go out in the woods, hike, and find my own evidence. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure I wasn't being misled. Not that she would ever give me that. I never got that feeling from her, but I wanted to see it for myself, you know. And my ex-husband at that moment on the airplane when we were going to Washington, he said, so if you don't see a Bigfoot, are you going to be, like, disappointed? And I said, oh, no, we're not going to see one. Like, you have to be really lucky to see one if they're even real. Like, I remember saying that to him on the airplane. And the moment we got there, like, the first night, she showed us around at night. We walked around in the woods at night, which was terrifying for me because, you know, it's, like, scary at night. It's dark. And nothing happened. You know, she was just showing us the trail. And the next day, we started having experiences right away. Like, we had rocks thrown at us, like, literally, like, right behind me. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a sign of a Sasquatch. What is throwing rocks at us? And we were by a river, and we were looking and couldn't see anything, but rocks were being thrown, like, in different directions into the water. Like, and that was, like, the second day that we were in Washington. And I'm thinking, okay, something is throwing rocks at us, and it's not a deer, it's not a bear. It could be a person. I'm still, like, thinking, not proof enough for me to say they're real. So, the third night, we would go night hiking because they're nocturnal. They're very active at night, the Sasquatches, and she's got them, like, all over her property. Like, she's told me stories, and there's a lot of elk there too. So I was thinking, okay, we're being followed. Like, we were walking on the trail on the third night, and we could hear whistles like on each side of us as we were being followed. So we would walk, and then we would stop suddenly, and then, like, we could hear one more step, bipedal steps. And I was, like, literally shaking, thinking, okay, there's probably elk. You're still in denial. Like, there's probably elk on each side of us. But they start whistling to each other. And I'm like, do they whistle? You know, and so that was about the third.
Wait, do elks whistle?
Well, because I was thinking, I'm trying to, like, be skeptic and say, well, This could be a deer. This could be, you know, I don't want to jump right away to saying this is a Sasquatch following us. And there's two of them on it was heavy footfalls, like, it was heavy footfalls on each side of the trail. And this is, like, at 10 o'clock at night in the woods, like, deep in Washington, like, you know, so, there was about 5 of us
Claudia,
together.
I just find it funny and honest that you are trying to seek answers in your mind, you know, anything but Bigfoot. And you actually thought, do elks whistle? I mean,
I know.
That's about as honest as anything I've ever heard.
You know, because because when I would go on vacations after that horrible Yosemite experience, like, my ex-husband would say, like, hey, do you want to go camping? I'm like, let's go on a cruise. Let's get away from the woods. I was scared. I didn't want anything to do with the woods. I was scared. That was a really scary moment for me, that growl, because you could hear the power of it, you know, and it sounded very aggressive.
Right.
So the third night, we get up in the morning, and this is about, I think it was around 11 a.m., and there was 7 of us walking. Well, when Barbara, she has a YouTube channel, she has an iPod, and she has it on the stick. So when she starts recording, like, something she's showing us or we're talking about, she never says, like, I'm going to push play, so we're going to be, like, recording right now. She wanted us to be as natural as possible for her channel. So she would never tell us, okay, I'm pushing record, or we never knew when she was recording or not, which was fine. You know, she asked, would you guys mind? I said, no, of course not, you know. So we were walking on the trail this day. This was 9/11, 2014. And I remember, like, we were walking on the trail, and as there was, like, a little fork on the road, and she said, you know what? She goes, we were walking straight. She said, I want to show you guys something, like something that's been twisted recently. So we all 7 of us walked towards the left. Like, as we were walking straight, we kind of made a U-turn and went, like, a different way. Like, And what happened was she started talking about, like, this tree has been, like, broken 3 times. You could see it's been twisted. And all of a sudden, I have this feeling, my sense, you know, the sixth sense that we all have, like, and you could see me on the camera, and I feel, oh my God, we're not alone. We're being watched. And at that moment, you see me kind of looking in the woodline, and about on my right-hand side, about 75 feet, there was a creature. And let me just explain to you, like, it's very full of, there's a lot of greenery, you know, in the woods in Washington State. There's a lot of moss, a lot of ferns, and you have to kind of look really well. and I started, and all of a sudden I saw, it looked like it was about 5 feet tall. He was holding like a stick with one hand. He was hanging on a tree with one hand. And all of a sudden, I looked at his face, and this is how I could describe it to people. He looked like an alien face with these huge black almond eyes. And all of a sudden, we locked eyes, and I looked at him, and I'm thinking in my head still, like, oh my gosh, like, what Washington creature are you? Like, I've never seen anything like you. He sees me, and the way I could describe his reaction to us looking at each other was, if you ever, like, by accidentally walk into somebody who's getting dressed or in the restroom, and you have that, like, oh gosh, I'm sorry, I saw you. It was like that moment of, like, I felt that he felt like, oh, he had a look of fear in his face, like, oh my gosh, I've been detected. Right. And what he did is he jumped off the tree, and I could see his black fingernails. It's, like, weird. They had, like, you know, women acrylic nails, they were black. And with one hand, I could see him scratching, like, the tree to get down off the tree. And, like, leaves were falling as he's jumping down the tree. And then he took 2 bipedal steps, which means on 2 feet. And then he went quadrupedal, and he ran away from us. And at that moment, I'm still in shock. And Barbara sees it, and everybody that they see it. And they said, did you just see that? Did you guys just see that? We were, like, in shock. So I'm still, like, in shock thinking, what in the world was that? It looked like a chimpanzee body. He was about 5 feet. Actually, I got a footprint from him, and he was his footprint was 13 inches, 5 toes, mid-torso break, heel, because we went back the next day to do, like, comparison pictures, and we really spent the whole day just trying to figure out, like, okay, he ran this direction. His foot stride was about 41 inches. Like, he was running really fast away from us. And that was such a beautiful moment in my life, because I felt like now I know they are real. I just saw one, like a juvenile. And, like, it was so shocking to me that I felt that life is way too short, and there's so much out there that we probably don't even know. That day I decided to, like, I lost 130 pounds. I started researching, like, more intensely. Unfortunately, I wasn't happy at that moment in my marriage, and I had to file for divorce for the better of my children, for the better of myself. Because my ex-husband said to me that night, you know, you can never tell anybody what we just saw. They won't believe us. Like, they'll think we're crazy. And the thing was, and I said, no, I live the truth. I'm not going to live a lie. Like, this was a beautiful experience, and I feel like this is my mission. Like, I want to learn more about them now. Now I'm even more passionate. Now I know they are real.
Where is Woodline?
Just so you know.
Where is Woodline?
Sorry. What was that? I'm sorry.
Where is Woodline?
What? No. The wood. What do you mean Woodline? This is Greenwater, Washington. Is that what you mean?
Oh,
like
Greenwater.
Where it happened?
Okay, I thought it was
Greenwater.
Oh, it's Greenwater, Washington. Okay, where is that?
It's about an hour away from Seattle. Like, we drove an hour from the airport to Greenwater. So it's a very small town. There's, like, one grocery store, one gas station, and, like, one little restaurant. And when you walk in, like, we walked in the first day, and, like, everybody stopped eating, and they just looked at us like we were like aliens walking into, like, a room. I'm like, hi, like, we're visitors, you know. And he's like, are you here to see Barbara? Like, they all know each other and stuff. It's a cute town, very small town.
Yeah, we're going to be up there next week. We're going to be in.
Be prepared.
Yeah, we're going to Trout Lake to ESETI.
Oh, it's beautiful there.
Yeah, it is.
And, like, I recommend, if you go into the woods, start looking, and you're going to find structures that are just we saw trees that literally are huge that have been lifted, like, and the root ball is, like, and it's leaned against another tree, massive tree, and you could see the root ball, like, up in the air, but the tree is, like, down, like something flipped the tree over. I mean, we found many structures like that, nests. We found a lot of things in Greenwater when you're like off the trail. Like we went in the rugged terrain. Like I didn't want to stay on the trail. I wanted to go find like other things, you know, and I found many footprints, like 16 inches. Like I saw things for myself that Barbara didn't say, okay, let's go in this direction. I just went on my own, like looking for stuff because I wanted answers for myself. But I knew at that moment, okay, now I know that they exist. Now I want to learn more about them. You know, that's what started my fascination even stronger.
Now, you said something interesting, and we're going to head towards a break here in a few minutes. I want to go back. You said that, describe his face again.
It's so, okay, his face, his eyes didn't even match his body because they were so massively big. And in fact, Barbara was videotaping the whole thing. And through the camera, like when you see the video, it looks translucent. Like it looks like the Predator. It's weird. She called it the cloaked video. But I have to say, like I've always said, no, Barbara, it wasn't cloaked. I saw, as he was running like away from me, I could see his skin. And it was pink. Like I could see as he's running, I could see like parts of his skin from his back. So I said he wasn't cloaked, but on the video it looked it was odd. It was like we don't know why that happened, but on the video it looked translucent, and you could see his enormous eyes. And people have done like breakdowns on it. And you know, the next day we went there and where he was on the tree, and we found like his footprints and 5 toes and metatarsal break, and he was so heavy that like. He would like the dirt where he stepped, it sunk like 4 inches. So like I stood next to like the footprint and jumped to see if I could do 4 inches like down into the dirt. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And I couldn't, and we found, and I casted it, and that was really special to me. I felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm so blessed that I got to see a creature, and I'm able to cast this footprint, because a lot of people, I didn't understand. It was amazing to me that I could see a creature, and then I was able to like cast the footprint that I saw the creature in, kind of like the Freeman video. He was able to cast some of the footprints, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How many people were with you besides Barbara and your ex?
There was about 12, but like another group actually went and stayed like where the creature ran away from us. They were like sitting like on a log just waiting for us because we were walking a lot, and some people had to take breaks. There were 7 of us that day, that moment where we saw the creature. And then there was another 4 like that were sitting like where the creature ran towards. And one of the ladies that was there, she had a little Chihuahua dog, and the Chihuahua just went crazy and started barking. And they didn't know that we just had an experience because we're like on the opposite side of the trail. But she said my dog started like barking aggressively, like the Chihuahua, and we didn't see anything. We didn't know why he was barking. But I think that dog saw the Sasquatch run across the path, past him, to get away from us.
He definitely smelled him for sure, right? We got to take a break right here, Claudia. Stay right there.
Okay.
That's an incredible experience, but we've got a lot more to go. Our guest tonight, Claudia Ackley. And we're going through her Bigfoot experiences, and they've been videotaped. But she's also in the middle of a lawsuit with the state of California. We're going to talk about all of that. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're of the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Claudia Ackley. That's right. She's suing the state of California over Bigfoot. She's had a lot of experiences, and we're telling the complete story tonight. And Claudia, when Steve Murillo and Alex Mistretta came to me, they were like, okay, Jimmy, this is it. You've got, and I went back and recalled everything that was going down in the media. And I mean, ABC News, everybody was reporting this story. And I said to Steve, I said, this happened here. I do. And he said, man, you've got to get her on the show. You've got to talk to her. And I'm just happy that you took the time tonight to share these experiences with the audience. It's an incredible story, and this lawsuit definitely takes it to another level. And this next part that we're going to discuss involves your daughters. And this was back in March in 2017, and I've seen pictures of your daughters. How old are they?
Right now, my daughter's 15 and my youngest is 12. So they were 11 and 14 at the time of our sighting.
And this was in Crestline. So for the audience,
actually Lake Arrowhead.
Lake
Arrowhead.
Lake Arrowhead. So right here in Southern California. And, yes. I spend a lot of time up at Lake Arrowhead, as anybody does here in Southern California. It's a great vacation destination. It's like an hour or less outside of, depends on how fast you drive, just right outside of Los Angeles. So for Lake Arrowhead, it can also get very remote. When you're around the lake, lots of houses, it's a beautiful community, but you can get very remote.
We weren't around the lake. We were kind of a little bit distant from the lake. We were kind of more of an isolated area.
That's what I'm saying. You can go located. You can get really isolated really quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So you want to start? What happened was we decided to move up here, and we lived in Corona, California, and basically I rented a cabin for a couple months just to see if we would like to live in the woods, because coming from a city and moving into the woods is, we want to make sure this is where we want to be, especially me loving like the Sasquatch species. I thought, oh my gosh, it's like my heaven. I can go into these woods and learn, and it was just beautiful. So what happened, since we just moved, and we moved like March 1st, and we rented a cabin, beautiful cabin. And since I didn't know my area, I've never lived up here. And in order for me to get my daughters, they go to Rancho Cucamonga. That's the school they go to. So I drive every day to take them to school and back. I would get on my phone and I would navigate to Rancho Cucamonga. So it would turn me, my navigation would say, okay, to turn left on this street, right on that street. So the first time I did it, it took me, and I was driving, listening to the directions, and I ended up at the end of this trail. And I'm like, oh, first I thought oh, I must have made a wrong turn. I must have not listened to the directions right. So I figured out how to, get them. So then a couple days go by, and once again, I navigate to Rancho Cucamonga. And then the second time, I knew, okay, I got to really listen to the directions because I got lost the first time. And what happened was I listened to the directions, and it took me back to the end of this trail. And I'm like, okay, this is the second time. Well, it happened the total of 5 times. And the 5th time, out loud, I'm alone in the car, and I say, you know what? I need to go check out this trail. This is a good, because when you see so much terrain in Big Bear, you don't even know where to start looking, for Sasquatch activity, or there's so much. It's like a needle in the haystack. So I have a better half, and his name is Ed Brown, and he's one of my best friends. And I thought, I'm going to take him on this trail when my daughters go with their dad for their visit, and it'll be a good date night for us. And now I've been here 5 times. I feel like I was drawn to this trail, So Ed and I went together, and this is probably March 20th. I'm just going to make up a day. I don't even know what day it was. And we were walking on the trail having a great time. And honestly, I started looking in the woods and stuff, and nothing looked squatchy. And what I mean by that is a lot of the Sasquatches, they have they do X's, and they do A mark. They have these glyphs, and I felt like this is not squatchy, but it's beautiful. We had a good time. But the one thing I noticed, maybe about a mile into the woods on the trail, we didn't see any humans. It was kind of isolated. There's 3 trees that have been pushing, that are blocking the trail, and they're all within 100 feet. And I'm not talking little twigs. These are big, massive trees that look like they've been pushed down, and they were still alive, the trees. And I was thinking, I told Ed, I'm like, it's weird. Why is there 3 trees that are blocking the trail? And it's all within 100 feet from each other. It was just odd to us. And we had a great day that day. We went Facebook Live. We have a lot of Facebook followers. And Ed Brown, he has a channel called Big Truth, and he interviews people who have had encounters, and he interviews high-end researchers, and he's very skeptic, which is good because I need that. We're both skeptic, I guess you want to say. So that day we went home, had a great time, and a couple days later, my daughters finished with their homework. I was working with hospice patients at that time, and when I go hiking, I usually have my boots and my camo, and I'm prepared. But this was around 6 p.m. at night, and they were bored. And I don't want my daughters to always be on social media. I want them to see the beauty of life that God has given us. I want them to learn about nature. And so I asked them, I said, do you guys want to go on a hike? And they said, yeah, that'd be great. It'd be fun. I said, okay. So I grabbed bear spray, and I grabbed my cell phone and my purse, and we went. And I told my daughters, it's about a 2-minute drive from maybe 3-minute drive from where we were staying at to the trail. And on that way, I was telling them, look, I want to just tell you something. We don't live in the city anymore. There are bears out here. You never run from a bear if you see one ever. I said, also there's mountain lions. And they get you from the back, and they're very sneaky. Sometimes they're on trees and they jump on top of you. Always stay close to mommy. We always have to stay close to each other. And my daughters, being teenagers, basically, they were rolling their eyes going, oh my gosh, this is she's lecturing us. She was kind of okay, Mom, we're okay. We got this. And we got out of the car, and I handed my daughter my car keys, my 14-year-old. And I said, in case there's an emergency, here's the car keys. Put them in your pocket. And she said, okay. Right away, she started videotaping. She has Snapchat. She has a new iPhone. So she starts videotaping the Woodlines, and we started walking on the trail. And I was always looking around just to see if there was bears or any kind of, I'm worried for my kids' safety, so I'm always looking to make sure we're safe. And then they saw the first tree that's been blocking the trail, and they're jumping on it, having a great time, skipping. We were singing. And then we go to the second tree that's been blocking the trail. And at that point, my youngest daughter was in the front of us. And then I had my puppy. And then my middle daughter was in the middle, and I was in the back. And the reason why I was in the back is just for safety reasons, so I could keep an eye on them.
Right.
And, I've seen, I've heard, Dave Politis missing 411, so I'm always, a little extra cautious with my kids. And at that moment, I took a picture of my daughter. She's posing, and you see my youngest daughter walking past the third tree that's been blocking. And what I noticed after I took the picture, there's a curve, and I noticed my daughter as she's like skipping and her hair is bouncing. I saw her look left to right, like she's following something in front of her. And then I'm thinking, and then all of a sudden she froze, like out of step. She froze and didn't move. And then my mom, I'm like a mama bear. I'm looking at her thinking, oh no, I hope she's not seeing something. At that moment, I didn't know, but my dog froze. My dog wouldn't move. She was a puppy at the time. And then my second daughter doesn't notice that my youngest daughter is frozen at that point. Well, now my middle daughter is caught up with my youngest daughter, and now she's frozen, and they're not moving at all, and nothing. They're just standing there staring straight. So I knew at that moment there was something in front of them, and I'm thinking in my head, oh my gosh, there's probably a bear in front of them. So what I did is I've never ran as fast as ever. As a mom, I run so fast and to get in front of them to protect them from whatever they're looking at. And when I was running behind my daughter, she heard me coming, and she turned around and looked at me. And in 11 years of her life, I mean, she's had a good childhood and stuff. I have never seen that fear and that look that she had. And she said to me, "We have to go home now," like right away. And I'm like, so what I did is I ran and I looked straight ahead, and there was an enormous Sasquatch just staring at us. And the way I could describe him is he looked just like a Neanderthal man, but he had huge, like, black eyes, almost like a raccoon. Like he had they were so dark. You know how raccoons have like a mask over their eyes? Yes. And I looked at him, and I'm thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, this is really not happening. This looks just like a Sasquatch, but it's not real. And I'm in such shock that I'm walking up to him. I'm not stopping. And I could hear my daughter saying, "Mom, Mom." And then my other daughter's like, "I need to go home now. We need to go home now." And they were like literally like losing it, hyperventilating. And I kept walking up to him. And all of a sudden in my head, it said, "Don't get any closer." Those were the 4 words I heard. "Don't get any closer." And I'm thinking in my head, like, not at the moment, but I was thinking, so I stopped. And I looked at him. And then I look at him, and I could see him turning his head, looking at the three of us, like he was looking at the three girls. So what I did is I raised my hands up in the air, and I said, "We come in peace." And I don't even know why I said that. And all of a sudden, like, my daughter starts hyperventilating, my little one. She almost starts to start crying. My other teenage daughter is like, "Mom, I swear to God, Mom, Mom, Mom." So in the medical profession, I am trained that you always want to control your environment. So when a patient or a family member, and I worked in the hospital, if it starts getting out of control, sometimes you have to be assertive with like the patient or the family members, because the most thing you want to do is control your environment. So I turned around and I looked at my daughters and I said, "Stop. Like, don't even panic. Don't show fear. We're going to be okay. Like, stop." And that's not like me. I'm pretty loving, like, to my kids. And they stopped. They listened to me. So I turned around and I looked at him, and he's looking at my kids. So at that point, I'm like, no. So what I did is, they have language, that we believe they have language. There's a man named Ron Moorhead, Scott Nelson, who that's like their field. They love to listen. I mean, they have audio of them talking and stuff. Well, I know that they do whoops. So I've heard people saying, like, we hear whoop, like when there's a Sasquatch around or when they have a sighting. But I looked at the creature, and he's 800 pounds, massive. One of his head was like 3 of ours, just for a size comparison. And what I did is I whooped at him. And then at that point, he stared at me, just like, was like, did she just whoop? Like, I'm thinking, did she just whoop at us? Like, type thing. And then I looked at him again, and I'm trying to just focus on every detail I can get from him. He had gray skin, and I don't know if that's just because they don't bathe or if that's just their skin. It was gray. And he had solid black eyes, no white. He had big human ears, and I remember seeing his ears like just big, like our human ears, but they were big. He had hair kind of sticking all over the place. And at that moment, he like scratches his face. Like, he had no worries about us staring at him. He was just like, he gets his fingers and scratches his face. Well, at this point, I didn't know this, but my daughter, who has an iPhone, she videotaped it twice, like behind it. And on one of the videos that she videotaped, there was a wood knock. And some people say that when there's Sasquatch activity, you'll hear wood knocks, which means like somebody will pick up a stick of wood and hit it against a tree. And we believe that they're warning others that there's humans around. And so, but at that moment, I didn't even hear that. I was just focused on how am I going to protect my children from this? Like, what am I going to do? Because at that point, he starts to sway back and forth. And then it gets faster. And then I whoop at him again, again. And then I could see he's getting anxious. You know, that was my cue. It's time for us to leave. Like, we got to go. So basically, I told my daughters, turn around. Whatever you do, do not run and do not show fear. Don't show fear. And they were like, okay. Well, my little one, literally does exactly the opposite. She starts to kind of run away. I'm like, no. Do not run. Do not run. And as I turned around, because that was the most scariest part for me, because I felt like he was going to come at us at that point. And there's no way I can win against an 800-pound, huge, muscular Neanderthal man looking, you know. I asked my daughter at that point, because she was still facing him. I said, is he coming at us? And she said, I don't know. And I said, okay, turn around and start walking. And so as we were walking away, I turned around and I looked at him and I said, thank you so much for showing yourself. And I don't even know why I said that. And so we start walking quickly, and I'm looking left, right, up, down, behind me, because I needed to know if they were going to come at us. I didn't know at that point. And we walked fast back to the car. And we got in the car, and my daughter, of course, they locked the doors right away. And I asked my 14-year-old, and I said, what did you just see? And she said, Mom, please, let's just go. We got to go. Let go. She was like so scared. I said, Christine, it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And then I looked at my little one. She's crying at that point. And, you know, kids get scared. They urinate. I mean, I've never seen that happen to her. Like, she was so scared. And I looked at her and I said, baby, what did you just see right now? Didn't say the word Sasquatch. And she said, well, when the two of them came running next to me on the side and ran behind the big one. And I go, wait. What did you just say? She said, the two of them that ran next to me on the left-hand side ran behind the big one on the tree. And then I said, so how many did we see today? And she said, 3. And then I said, were they as big as the one that was on the tree? And she said, no, they were smaller. But she said, the one in the front, Mom, was looking at me as it was running forward. And the one behind it was younger and didn't even look at her. But she said the one that was running, looking at her, was giving her a dirty look. So I said, okay. So at this point, I start driving, and I'm looking in my rearview mirrors to make sure, like, we're not being followed or chased. You know, it's like one of those, like, you know, you all these thoughts come in your mind. And then I'm driving home, and I'm thinking, like, Ed's home right now. Like, what am I going to say to him? Like, hey, how was your hike? Oh, it was good. We ran into some Sasquatch. He'd laugh. I'm, like, thinking, how am I going to explain this to him? He's going to think, like, so basically, we get home. He sees how pale we are. At that point, it's like 7:15. And he sees us, and he sees that we're, like, basically pale, white, scared. And I started telling him, Ed, something just happened right now. And he said, what happened? And I said, we ran into a Sasquatch. And he goes, what? Like, what? Like, and I said, no, Ed, like, we ran into a Sasquatch. I'm not kidding. Like, well, then my daughter, she hears us talking, and she said, I had videotaped it a couple times. And at that point, we fall off our chairs. So we're like, you videotaped it? She said, yes. So he gets on his laptop, and of course he enlarges the picture. And I said, look, this is where he is. This is his eyes, his face, this is his fingers. I was trying to explain to him, because it's not the best video. Of course, it's blurry, you know, and it's like, and he said, you know, I could see his face, but I think it was a man looking at you in the woods, Claudia. And I said, yes, it was a Neanderthal man. It wasn't a human man. So that night was pretty intense, because this is something I haven't talked to the public about, because I'm having such a hard time with it, understanding it. So around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, so Ed said, let's go tomorrow, and I want you to show me where you saw it. Like, I want it, so we could, like, check everything out, do, like, you know, comparison pictures. I have comparison pictures that you don't see the creature on the tree anymore, you know, the next day. So at 9:30 at night, like, I heard like 3 boom, 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 like on our walls, like in our home. And we have like, neighbors. And I'm like, what was that? And he said, that's probably just the wood settling, or it's probably the girls doing something. So what I did is I went downstairs and I checked on my girls, and they were in bed quiet. I mean, they were having a hard time with dealing, because when you see one, you still can't, it's still like you replay that moment over and over and over in your head.
Right.
So I'm sorry. I hope I'm not talking too much.
No, you're not.
Letting
you're
you
not.
have any questions.
No. You just you just keep going. But okay. I looked at the video, and there is a face in the tree. It does turn slightly. He moves.
Yeah.
But you're right. I can tell you what it's not. It's not. It's not a white guy. Right?
Yeah, it's not a bear.
No, it's not. And what I mean by that, the face is black. The shape is black. Big head. It's in the leaves. It's in the trees, and he does turn slightly, but he is looking at you. That's
we were face to face. Yeah, we were eye contact.
It's right there.
I wanted him to look at me. Don't look at my kids. Look at me.
Yeah.
Just like.
And your kids are right there.
For them,
kids are right there. I mean, it is right there off of the path. That is very close. And looking at the video, how many feet away do you think this was? 20 feet?
100 feet. 100 feet. We were 100 feet from each other.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And at this point, since I was in such a shock factor, like there's actually like I'm standing on the trail, but then there's like a hill that goes down. So I thought he was standing by the tree. Because all I could see was his chest up. Like I didn't see his legs or anything else, because it was like I was just looking at his face. And let me tell you, like his expression, there was none, but they looked like, don't mess with us. Like we will hurt. He had that look of such intimidation, like no smile. He didn't show his teeth or anything, like no aggression. But the thing that worried me was when he started to rock and sway back and forth, and it got faster, I could see him looking to see, like, okay, where am I going to jump to next? Like, he was ready to do something at that moment. Okay. And I knew, okay, I got to go. That was my cue.
Let me jump in.
We can't keep staring at each other.
The reason why I said 20 feet, I was looking at the picture of, is that your daughter in the red shirt?
No, that's me.
That
was
you.
me in front.
I thought that was your daughter. Okay, and I see the dog in the background, and then there's the tree line. Okay, I see. So the tree line to the back, that's where the face is.
Yes, he's in between the V of the tree, like his face.
I see the V.
And
so you're saying 100 feet? Okay, it doesn't look that far. But
about 100 feet.
Okay.
And if you see this tree, because Steve Murillo and Alex are very good researchers, and I mean they're thinking like, okay, 1,000-pound creature, that has to be a big tree to be holding that weight. So when they saw the tree, they're like, oh, there's no issues with like this creature. It's an enormous tree, it's a big tree. So like we have an idea how it climbed it. It's just, there's like a opening on the tree, and we feel that maybe one thing that I wanted to tell people is, you could see like a brown bark, like where, like below him, like his face. And that's actually like a tree break, and it's massive. And that was very fresh. Not that I saw him break that branch, and I didn't see him climb the tree, but I believe that when he was climbing that tree, he broke that branch off, and it's still there, like on the floor. And I feel like when he was climbing up, he must have just like smashed it off. It was a fresh break. Maybe. I mean, that's just my assumption. I'm not.
Yeah, I saw Alex took pictures of himself in the tree, and Alex is not a small guy. He's a big dude.
I know.
Yeah. So I did see those pictures, and he's one of the best researchers out there, and so is Steve Murillo, and they really are interested in all of this. Now, I wanted to go back to the video part. It was your older daughter that shot the video?
And something else happened too with her new iPhone. So she videoed. I didn't even know she videotaped it because she was standing behind me. I remember I ran in front of them to protect them. So they were standing behind me, and they were frozen, like they weren't moving. And on one of the videos, you can actually hear like bipedal footsteps. If you listen to the audio, like you could hear my daughter breathing very hard, like they're very scared. So, and I don't know why, but she only videotapes like 10 seconds, 15 seconds at a time.
Right.
And when we got out of the car, she videotaped like the Woodline before we had the encounter. And I sent this to like a researcher, and I said, can you go through like what she videotaped to see if you see anything? Because I believe that the two that were there that were following us were flanking us the whole way. And because he said, look, Claudia, there's one right here hiding behind the tree as you're walking on the trail. Because as soon as we turned that curve, these two others popped out to the left and then ran behind the big one. Like that was like, a surprise, like we're here, and I believe that they were following us. And the scary part is I didn't hear anything. No footsteps, no rustling in like the bushes. They're so stealthy that I was looking around during the whole trail walk and nothing. Like I felt safe. It was such a surprise to me. It was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is happening.
And it was your younger daughter. We got to take a break right here. It was your younger daughter that saw the other two, right?
Yes. She's the only one that saw the total of 3 that day. Christine and I only saw the big one, and I didn't even look around, to be honest with you. I should know better to look. There's always more than just one. But I didn't even look around to see how close the other ones were to us. I had no idea.
Right. We've got 1 minute before the break. How's your younger daughter doing now? Is she still pretty freaked out?
She's not well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
wants out. She wants to move away from the woods, and she needs to sleep with the light on.
Yeah.
She has nightmares. It's scary for them.
Can you blame her? Let's take a break right here.
No, not
Claudia.
at all.
I know.
Okay.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll jump into the lawsuit. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Claudia Ackley, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, as promised, it's our Bigfoot night. We have Claudia Ackley with us, and we went through her sightings that went back to 1996, and her most recent one, which was back on March 27th, 2017, with her two daughters. And I've posted the video up on Twitter, and everybody is watching that now. Pretty convincing. And when you, Claudia, when you do the overlay on the trees where this being is standing, clearly there is something there. It's a pretty amazing video that your daughter happened to capture. I'm glad that she did. But I don't know. I'm a dad. I have two daughters, and I don't know how they would react to this either. And they're both pretty courageous girls, right? I mean, they're young. They're young ladies now. They're in their 20s, but I don't know. As a dad, I think, and so as a mom, how are you guys dealing with this today? I want to get into the lawsuit in a second, but as a mom, you're protective. These are your kids.
Well, my daughter, my 11-year-old, she said, Mom, like, I always teach them about honesty and doing the right thing. And when we have bad situations happen in our life, I teach them, let's help others with it. Like, let's learn from this experience and help others be better people. And I'm always honest with my kids about everything. And she came up to me one day and she said, you lied to me. And I said, about what? And she said, you said monsters aren't real, and they are.
Right.
And I said, well, okay, I want to tell you something. I said, there's people, I know you don't understand, you're 11. And I said, I want you to know that there's people that look all their lives to see one. And I said, I know you don't understand it now, but this was to me a gift. This was a blessing. And I want to let you know something, like, Mommy's strong, but they're a lot stronger. And there was 3 of them that we at least know were there at that moment. And if they wanted us, they could have taken us and hurt us, but they didn't. I think they just wanted to, I'm trying to make it as positive as possible for her, and, I said they could have done whatever they wanted to us. I mean, there were 2 of them that were so close to you, Jenna, and I said nothing happened. And I said maybe they were just showing you, because when they show themselves, it is a gift. They're very good at hiding. And I said, as a mom, I would have done everything I could to protect you. Like, I would have jumped on top of them. I'm not going to win, of course, but I said, let's help people through this. And basically, my 14-year-old, she loves God a lot. She goes to Bible study, and she keeps telling me, Mom, this isn't from God. This isn't from God. And I said, just because they look scary, it doesn't mean they're all bad, because I don't believe they're all bad. And I said, there's a lot of stories that people have really scary encounters, and there's a lot of good stories where they've saved lives. And I said, God made everything that is on this earth, I believe. Like, that's our belief, and we're not religious people, but we're spiritual people. So, I mean, she's a little girl, and if I was her age, I'd be so scared too, because it was such a shock fest. We were just going to go for a quick little fun hike, and something else happened, and it was pretty traumatic for them. And she's doing better on it now, and sometimes she wants to talk about it. She was interviewed, and the interesting thing was my youngest one was interviewed, and when they asked, can you show us how he was running? Well, when she was showing, like, mimicking how they were running, she turned her shoulders when she turned her head, because they don't turn their necks. And that to them knew that she saw what she saw, because she turned her upper body when she turned her head. She didn't just turn her head, and you know what I mean? So they knew at that moment she did see something that was apish, or Sasquatch, and
right. How far?
So basically, as a mom, we pray a lot.
Right, right. Of course. How far away from Lake Arrowhead or Big Bear? How far away up into the woods was this?
Well, like with Steve, I thought it was about a mile, but he says it's probably half of a mile into the wood line, into the trail.
So it's
so
right
it wasn't
there.
too far deep in the woods. It was like And the funny thing is that there's like some homes at the beginning of the trail. And I talked to a police officer. His name is Deputy Butt. And he said to me, he said, I went on a call to a house there on that trail, like right before the trail. And it was an elderly woman. And she said that there was a monster looking through her window because she had her windows open. She called 911 and they came, and he said, honestly, like he goes, we didn't know she was dementia. She was hallucinating. She's older. We didn't even know what to tell her. Like we said, we looked around the area and we don't see anything. If you have any issues, give us a call back. Once he heard my story, he came and he said, look, like I can testify for you. Like I went on a call there, and so what I did is to talk about the lawsuit is what I decided
we're
to do.
Gonna hold on. Let me jump in right there. We're gonna get to the lawsuit in a second. After you and your daughters get in the car and go home, was there any other contact? Did you guys hear anything from the neighbors that night, the next night?
Yes. And that was the most scariest part for me ever. That was like, because when I was driving away that day, I looked in my rearview mirrors because they run quadrupedal and they say they run really fast. But we were going on curves and stuff, and I was looking in my rearview mirror. Once we got in my driveway, I was like, oh, thank you, God, we're home. Like, we're safe, we're good. So that night, the first night, Ed was home and the girls, and we heard pounding on the wall, boom, 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 3 times. And I asked Ed, like, what was that? And he said, it's probably the wood settling or it's the girls. Like, they were sleeping downstairs. So I very quietly went downstairs just to see what they were doing, just kind of sneak up on them to see if they were like, and they were both laying in bed, just like on their phones, like just, they had a hard time sleeping that night.
Of course.
So around 3 a.m, 3:15, we're asleep. I'm not sleeping because I keep thinking over and over what we just saw. It does traumatize you. Like, it's still in your head. It's still in my head. We heard another like boom, boom, boom. And at that point, Ed's sound asleep. And I'm thinking, what in the world is pounding on our walls? Like, what is it? Is it them? And I'm like, no, it's not them. There's no way. Like, they know where we live. There's no way. The second night, Ed he left on his business trip. So it's just now the girls and I alone at home. And again, around 10 p.m., my youngest daughter at that point did not want to sleep downstairs by herself. So she slept with me in the room, and my teenage daughter slept downstairs. And around 10 o'clock at night, here comes the pounds again. Boom, boom, boom. And my daughter's eyes were huge. She goes, Mom, like, what is that? Are they here? And I said, no. Like, it's just the wood settling. I'm trying to calm her down. And in my heart, I'm thinking,
they're here.
What is pounding on our walls? What is here?
Right.
So let me just tell you, that whole night, it was constant. It was knocks and it was pounding on the walls. And it was like on our wall, like by our bedroom. Like they knew we were in that room. It was weird. Like, but the one thing I want to tell you is that I was too scared to look out the window, and there's no way, like being by myself, that I can't say it was them, but what is going to pound on our walls, like, all night long? It stopped at around 5 a.m. So my girls didn't get any sleep at all. That day, they left with their father for their visit. So now I'm alone in this cabin, and that was like the hardest night for me. So I was talking to like Scott Carpenter. He's a great researcher. And I started telling him, like, dude, have you heard of, like, being followed home? He's like, oh, of course. Like, you've been tagged. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, so what happened was, we have a 2-story, and we have a balcony with a sliding glass door. And I went out there, and I started hearing a cat meowing, but it was like a deep cat meow, not like a real cat meowing. And I'm like, Scott, do you hear this? And he's like, yes, I hear it. And like, I was talking to another friend of mine named William, and basically I have a cat. So I'm thinking maybe it's my cat that's downstairs and needs to come in the house because it's coyotes. So we don't want our cat to get missing. I go in the living room, and then I see that there's, my cat. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's a mountain lion that's like down, like right in our balcony. And I'm still thinking, is it them? Because now they're mimicking an animal sound. So what I did is I went back out there, and all of a sudden, a lot of people hear this that have Sasquatch sightings. They mimic owls. And I mean, I'm going to say how it sounded. It was like, ooh, 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 ooh. And then I said, oh my God, did you just, because I wanted to verify. Oh, and by the way, with my daughters on our sighting, I was asking my daughter when I was face to face with him, do you see eyes? Do you see his shoulders? Do you see, I was trying to confirm, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And she's like, yes, like we are seeing the same thing, Mom, like type thing. So I was asking him, did you hear that owl call? And so what I did is I mimicked it back, and we went back and forth like 10 times. Like I did the owl call, they repeated it back, but it was like a deep metallic sound of an owl call. So he said, do me a favor, get in the house, turn on every single light, lock all your doors, and whatever you do, do not go outside. Don't go outside. So that night, I sat on the couch talking to him. I'm literally shaking, thinking, am I going crazy? Like, is this really happening? And basically, I started hearing, like, if, like, say you have long fingernails and you're walking around, like, the house outside, and you could hear, like, scratches. Like, it's weird. It was weird. And the scariest part for me was that when I was sitting on the couch talking to my friend, he was calming me down. I said, right now I smell a dead animal literally right next to me. But there's nothing there. Like I'm sitting there and I'm smelling a dead animal smell. It was nasty. And where I start moving the couch to see if there's like a dead rat or something, like I'm still like trying to figure out, well, why is the smell here? Like, and then he said at that point, start praying. And I said, okay. So basically he said, turn on all the lights. And that night was the longest night because like literally like the doorknob on our front door was like moving, not turning, but moving, like shaking. And I'm thinking, oh my God, are they here? Like, are they here? How do they know where I live? Like, wow. I didn't understand it. And that's something that I have a hard time like talking to people about because I didn't see them and I can't say that was them, but what else pounds? And it was like, and then what happened was I had the courage now to knock back. Like they knocked 3 times and then I knocked 3 times and then they did it 3 times. Then I did it 3 times. And it was like a strong pound, like the wall would shake. It wasn't like knock, 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 like light. It was strong, you know? So after the 3rd night, like the next day we went out and I found like footprints like around our cabin, like around like our area by the windows, everything. And I had all the mini blinds closed.
Did you take pictures? Are those the pictures?
Yeah,
that
I have pictures of those. Like my daughter's like on my foot next to it. And then there's a Mexican candy called mazapanes and they're like round and they're made in Mexico and they're peanuts, like kind of crushed together. And I left 2 of them out there like the second night just to see if anything would take it. And the weird thing is that this package was opened, not bitten. Like if it was a rat, I would see rat bites on it, you know, or whatever. And the package was opened and licked. And it was like, okay, so if this was a rat, it would have bite marks on the, you know, just all these things that go through your mind, you know, and, I left an apple. The apple was gone like the next day. So, and after the 3rd night, everything stopped. Like no, there was no more pounding on the walls. Nothing happened. So, it took me a while to just get over the whole thing and dealing with my kids, making sure they were okay. And what happened was I listened to Sasquatch Chronicles and, it's a great podcast. And, his name is Wes, who is the interviewer, and he interviews people who've had encounters. And I was listening to a man named Todd Standing, and he's very controversial. I love him a lot, and this is why I'm going to tell you what he has done for me. So I was hearing him interviewed, and he said, look, like I have a Canadian lawsuit with the Canada government because these things need to be protected, and they are real, and I have the evidence to prove it. And at that moment, like in my heart, I felt like, oh my gosh, that's what I need to do. Like I got to do something. Because this experience was so amazing to me, and I feel like I've been blessed that I want to protect the public. And so everybody knows, I want everybody to know this. I am not suing for a cent, no money. I look like, for like most of the population in our world, I'd considered a crazy woman in the woods. Like, this lady's crazy. She thinks there's a Bigfoot. And they are real. You know what I'm saying? So this has not been easy for me, but what I'm doing is I want the species to be protected. And it's not that they can't protect themselves, because they can. And at that moment, when I had the encounter with the giant, the last one I had my cell phone in my hand. And for a split second, I wanted to videotape him. But I was so scared of pointing something out this creature when you're face to face with one. And like, people ask me, why didn't you videotape it? And I'm like, well, if you were in the woods with your children and you ran into an African elephant and you're face to face with it, You're not going to get your camera out and start video. I didn't even care at that point. I just wanted to protect my kids. That's all I was focused on. So I listened to the interview, and at that moment, I just said I have to do something government-wise, because what happened was I finally had the courage to call and report this, because I was thinking later on, if the girls and I were walking away from that trail that day, and I saw like a dad, say you with your beautiful daughters, like you're walking on that trail, I'm going to say to you, please don't go out there. Like, and what am I going to say to you? There's Bigfoot out there. They'll look at me and laugh and say she's crazy.
Right.
Like literally she's crazy. But the truth is they are out there. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to lie to them. I would say there's big animals out there. Please don't go out there. Like, because I was afraid for them. You know, they're scary. So, and I want that to change. Like, I'm not doing this for myself, because there's a lot of missing people. And I'm not going to say that we don't know why these people, they're not, you know, Dave Politis, he's done his research. You know, he's gone to like the national parks. Hey, can I have a list of your missing people? No. Like, why?
Right.
Well, you know, and these people that he's investigated aren't just like, I mean, if somebody is missing and they were suicidal, homicidal, depressed, or had, you know, maybe some mental illness, that they are excluded from the research that he's done. These are stories that are very compelling, you know, and basically what I did is I decided to call and report this. And then you think to yourself, well, who do I call? Do I call Fish and Game? Do I call the Forest Service? Do I call the sheriff? Because there is no number to call and say, hey, I want to report a Sasquatch sighting. So I basically just called the sheriff's department, and I talked to the woman that answered the phone. She was very professional, very polite. And I said to her, like, look, my name is Claudia Ackley. I'm in the medical profession. I'm a mom. I will take any lie detector test, a drug test, a psych evaluation, but I need to report this. This is very important. We ran into a Sasquatch, and we found a 22-inch footprint by the tree where the creature was, 22 inches. That's 5 toes, heel, where I believe when he landed off the tree, he left an imprint. And then the two of them that were running against with my daughter, we found a I think 13-inch print with 5 toes. And you can see it kind of slid in the mud. I have pictures of that as well. And I didn't actually find those prints.
Well, what did
some investigators?
Well, hold on, Claudia. We're going to the right. We need to stay in the middle.
Okay.
That's okay. When you reported it, what did they say?
She was really nice, a dispatch lady, and she was quiet at first. And I'm like, it's such a hard call to make. And she said, okay, I've never gotten a call like this. She was really nice. And she said, I don't know who to direct you, if it's Fish and Game or the Forest Service, but I will have somebody call you, so make sure you answer your phone. I said, of course, thank you so much. Well, within 3 minutes, my phone rings, and let's call her Debbie. She said, hi. She said, I just heard that you had a Sasquatch sighting. And I said, yes. And I said, it was actually my daughters and I. And I said, basically what I just told you, but I didn't tell her about the Yosemite. I didn't tell her about the Washington sighting.
Right.
I just wanted to report that. So she said, okay, what's your address? I'll be there. And she said, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And she was there in 5 minutes. She was very professional, came in her uniform. I shook her hand. And I said, look, we have video of it. Let me show it to you. We have pictures of the footprints. And we also have possible hair. So she said, okay. So she said, I want to tell you something. Right now, I'm not alone. My supervisor is on the other end. And I'm going to be texting him while you're telling me your story. And he's going to try to explain to you what you saw. And I thought that was very interesting. I said, okay, fair enough. I didn't ask her who he was. So I showed her the video, and she right away she saw, like, she was at his face, like, yeah, that's his ears, his nose. Like, I was explaining to her. I told her everything I just told you guys. So she says to me, okay, let me message my supervisor. And she messages him on her cell phone, and we're waiting for a response, and he responds back. And then she looks at me, and she looks at her cell phone, and she takes a sigh, and she said, you saw a bear. Oh, and I said, no, sweetie, that was not a bear. I know what bears look like, and that was not a bear. Right. And 3 of them, and they're all walking like on 2 feet. 3 bears? No, we did not see a bear. So she kept saying, well, I think you did, and you were just nervous. I said, no, you're not going to reverse this on me. I said, this was not a bear. This was a Sasquatch, and there was 3 of them that day. And I said, what are you going to do about it? And she said, well, you know, we do have a zoo here in Big Bear. And she said an orangutan got loose. And that's like 30 miles from where we're at. And she said, maybe you saw the orangutan. And I said, it looked like an orangutan, kind of, but it wasn't an orangutan.
Wait a minute.
So
there was no loose orangutan in the news. Stop.
Orangutan lost.
Yeah. That would be all over the news here in Southern California.
And that's a lie. I found out that was a lie. That's not even true. And by the way, I had her conversation recorded. I can't use it because I didn't get her permission, but I was recording our whole conversation during this as she was interviewing me. She didn't know it at the time, but I don't care. But what frustrated me is she said, and I said, look, I said, this creature was kind of, he was like an orangutan red color. He wasn't black like on the video, which was odd, but maybe it was just like the shadows or what the sun was going down at that point. But I said, he was red. He was like a red color. And she said, well, maybe you saw cinnamon bear. So basically we went back and forth. And then I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm an honest person and I have ethics. And I said, woman to woman, I'm sure you're a mom. I said, I know you have a job to do and you have your bills to pay, but I don't understand how you sleep at night and telling people that they saw a bear, because many people report Sasquatch and they get laughed at and they're told they saw a bear. And I said, that's not okay. So let me ask you some questions now. And she said, okay. I said, has anybody ever been hurt on that trail? And she said, yes. I said, okay, what happened? And she said, well, there was a scout, like a Boy Scout troop that were earning their badges. And this little boy did not listen to his troop master, and he brought food inside of his tent. And this is exactly what she said. He was attacked that night inside the tent, and he was hurt very, very, very badly. And I looked at her and I said, so what did it? She goes, a bear. And I said, are you sure it was a bear? And she didn't say anything, you know. And basically, I said to her, I want to ask you another question. Has there ever been a sighting report on that trail? And she said, no. I said, so within the 5 minutes that I called you, you researched to see if there was any sightings on that trail, and you're telling me no? And she said, no, nobody's ever reported a Sasquatch here.
And you have all of this recorded.
Enough.
You have it all recorded.
Yes.
Wow.
The whole thing recorded.
Wow.
So then she hands me a pamphlet as she's walking out the door. And it's like how to protect yourself against bears. And I said, what's this? And she said, it's how to protect yourself against bears. I said, I don't need a bear pamphlet. I need like a Sasquatch pamphlet. You know, I was like frustrated, but I was very professional. And I said, look, like I'll take any test you want me to take. Like right now, lie detector, whatever you want. But the public needs to know what's out there. It's important. And she's like, well, what we'll do is we'll drive around to make sure that, you know, the public is safe. And I go, where are you going to drive around when there's 3 trees blocking the trail? Even if there was a fire, how are you going to get like the fire trucks out there? Like, really? Like, I mean, it was so frustrating that day I felt so ashamed, and I felt like I felt angry. Like, this is so not okay.
Well,
so what I did is I thought,
you made a sign.
Yeah, I felt like this is not okay. So what happened was I called Todd, and Todd and I have been friends on Facebook for a couple years, but I've never talked to him. We've just been, you know how you get Facebook friends and you never talk to the person or whatever. And I messaged him and I said, look, like my daughters and I had an encounter. I'm fascinated with the species. I want to learn more. And I'm not going to like use this experience in vain. I'm going to help. I'm going to change things, or at least try to change things. And I said, I need your help. Will you help me? And he called me like right away. He said, I will be there. Like, he talked about himself, you know, and I said, okay, fair enough. So he came, and before he came, I sat with my family and I said, look, this is really important. I want to save lives because it's not okay. The government knows about these species and they keep lying to people, and it's not okay. We pay our taxes, and I believe that we know about the bears and mountain lions and snakes that are out there, but tell us the whole truth of what's out in those woods, because we're not alone. We're not alone. You know, and I feel that people at least have a choice to go out there knowing what's really out there. And that's where my heart is, you know, and I'm not saying all the Sasquatch are bad, because they're not. Not all of them are bad. But so I talked to my family and I said, look, like, this is going to change my life. I'm going to look crazy to the public. I said, it's going to be really hard. And I told my daughters, if this is going to be too hard for you, like if you're afraid that you're going to be made fun of at school, because I know being a teenager, it's already hard enough. And I don't want people making fun of them, but I said, you guys are my number one important of everything in my life. If this is going to be too hard for you, I won't do it. And both of them looked at me and said, no, you need to do it. we would be so disappointed if nothing good comes out of this, Mom, like to help people, because it was such a shock factor to them. So once I had my family's like support, I said, there's nothing that's going to stop me. So basically, Todd flies down here from Canada. We don't tell anybody that he's coming because I wanted to have like a serious talk with him. And at first, he's a very hard person to get close to because he gets so much hate mail, and there's so many people that are so cruel, like in the Bigfoot community, that, you know, I've learned something. If somebody tells me their story, I never say to them, you're a liar or you're a hoaxer, because I wasn't there, and it's not okay, you know. And he came, and I got to know him, and I started asking him some hard questions. I said, look, like, I know you're controversial, and I said, I need to know, nobody knows you're here. I need to know if any videos you've ever made are hoaxes, because this is all about truth to me. And he said, Claudia, like, and I said, look, like, I'll sign a document saying, like, you never came here, we never had this discussion. Like, but I need to know the truth from you. This is important to me. And he said, no, I have never hoaxed a video. I said, fair enough. And we spent literally 3 days without sleep because I don't have an attorney at this point. So I go to the courthouse, and they don't even know what paperwork to give me. I'm my own attorney at this point. So they're like, well, nobody's ever sued like the government about this. So like, I don't know if it's form number 3 or 4 or 5 to give you. So I just took all of them. And basically I have a friend who is a paralegal, and she's a brilliant woman, and she's not into the Sasquatch species, but she sees my passion. She sees my heart. She knows my story. And she said, you guys come over to my house and I'll help you. And she's very intelligent.
Well,
we were up for 3 days.
Yeah, let me jump in right there. We got to take a break, but I've read through the lawsuit, and that was one of my questions for you is who helped you write this, because it's really well done. It's pretty intimidating, actually. It's really well done. We'll go through all of that when we come back. Our guest tonight, Claudia Ackley. It's Bigfoot on Fade to Black. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio, or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. Getthetea.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. Great start to the week. Our guest tonight, Claudia Ackley. We're talking about her Bigfoot experiences and, of course, her lawsuit with the state of California, Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the Natural Resources Agency. We're going to get back to that in a second. I do have a very, very serious community message here to everybody that is going up to ECETI next week for Soltech. You need to get your food ordered. Get over to SoltechGathering.com and get your food ordered. I'm letting you know now, you're going to go hungry, and I ain't sharing. Okay, so get over there right now and get your food ordered for Soltech Gathering. And I had another announcement. I'm going to wait for the bottom of the hour. Claudia, a couple of things before we move on. You went out and posted a sign, didn't you, up there on the trail?
I did.
Yeah, and you wanted to hear from people. How many people contacted you about anything that they might have seen?
Well, what I did is I got a cheap cardboard, like just a tacky little cardboard sign, and I put, if anybody has encountered anything unusual on this trail, please contact me, and I promise you there'll be no judgment. And I didn't write my name because I didn't want people Googling my name and saying like, oh, it's a Bigfoot girl, you know?
Right.
So I left my cell phone number there, and literally a week goes by and I get a phone call, and it was a great older couple that walk on that trail like once a week. And she said, I asked them, what did you experience before I told them anything about me and even my name? And they said, well, we were walking with our dog and we got off the trail, and I asked them where, and she's like, kind of like by where the 3 trees are blocking the trail. I said, okay. And she said, there was an enormous growl that literally sent shivers down our spine. We were terrified that we picked up our dogs because we thought it was like a mountain lion. We couldn't see anything, but there was a growl close to us, and we knew something big was out there. So she went home and she researched it, and it was actually Indian. It was owned by the Indians, that land that I saw the Sasquatch on. Native Americans, and she said that she couldn't find the growl. Like she Googled like, you know, mountain lion, bears, like they couldn't find the growl that they heard. Once I told her like what happened to me, she said, oh my gosh, that makes sense. So basically she started looking into like the Ohio howls, and she's like, that was like the growl, that the siren type screaming that we heard, you know. And they haven't been, I've met them. They're very nice. The second one was it was a brother, an older brother who takes care of his younger brother, and they were here visiting a friend that lives near like that area. And his little brother said, like, let's go on a night hike. I want to do something fun. I'm bored. So his older brother, he just grabs like a knife just to protect himself, and they start walking on that trail. And basically he said that his little brother was behind him and he was in front, and he saw a hand of a Sasquatch. And he said he had a cell phone. That's the only flashlight he had. And he said it was a white albino. He said that he was so scared that immediately he turned around and told his brother, start walking back. Let's go. And he said that was like scary. He said he was really scared, and he said his little brother didn't see it, but he did. That was the second call I got. The third call was a nice gentleman who he said that I can't tell you what happened to me on that trail, but all I have to say to you is I walk on that trail constantly with a gun and my dogs to make sure the public is safe. And I said, can you please tell me? And he said, no. I said, okay, I thank you and I respect it and thank you for calling me. And then he said, what happened to you? So then I told him what happened to me. So the fourth call was a woman who, she said, I live near that trail, and I don't know what it is, but I hear screams like a woman being raped at night. And we don't know. We thought it was coyotes at first. We don't know what it is. So then I explained to her, sometimes, this is what happened to me. And so then I got to meet all of these 6 people. The last one was just recent. And basically, they've lived in Lake Arrowhead all their life. They raised their kids. And they have a daughter who's in her 20s, and she's very athletic. And she runs on that trail a lot. And she said basically that her daughter came hysterical. And they said, what happened to you? What happened? And she said, I was being followed on that trail, Mom. And she said, as I was leaving the trail, I saw these 2 huge things hiding behind a tree. And one kind of came out and showed himself. And she said that she will not go back on that trail. And basically, the mother was talking to a neighbor and told the neighbor about what happened to her daughter, not knowing about me. And this neighbor said, well, did you hear what happened to the girl with her daughters on the trail? And she didn't know how to get a hold of me, that she, I guess, found my name, and then she got my cell phone number from the court records, and she contacted me. And she said, we believe you, like this happened to my daughter. And then the deputy that's going to testify on my behalf with the court case that went on that call too. So with that tiny little cardboard that I left for a couple weeks, I got six calls from that trail, experiencing stuff on that trail. And that was really neat to talk to people and kind of help them understand what I saw, maybe that can help them, and they're going to testify for me as well. Now, I have, Dr. Meldrum, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeffrey Meldrum, great guy. He's been a guest on the show too, as well.
He's great.
Didn't you? I heard a report about you getting, maybe possibly some Men in Black or some government cars, and you got a photograph of the license plate.
And the men. So we have security cameras here, and at the beginning, there was a man that came to the door, and he was wearing a black leather jacket, clean cut, sunglasses, and he had a white truck. And he came to the door and rang the doorbell. We weren't home. But there was a man that came out, and he looked like a woodsman. He was a big guy with a brushy. He was brushy, and he kind of was standing with his arms crossed, standing by the truck outside, and basically they left. So I didn't know who it was, didn't think Men in Black or whatever. So a couple days go by, and we live on a quiet street in the woods. There's probably 10 cars that go by our house a day. So as I was leaving one day out of my driveway, I see a truck that's kind of a couple houses down, and I start driving up my street, and he gets right on my tail, literally, if I slam my brakes, he would have smashed into my car. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm being followed. This is not paranoia. And I was going to go on a highway called Highway 18 where you could kind of fall off the cliff and die.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking in my head, there's no way I'm going to go on this highway. I'm going to drive into town where there's a lot of people. So basically, he was still right behind me. And what happened was I got mad and I made a U-turn, a quick one, at the post office. Now I'm behind him. And I grabbed my cell phone, and I literally, and as he sees me, I could see him looking at me on his rearview mirror. And I start taking pictures of his car. And at that point, he's sped off 90 miles an hour on this little town. And I'm not going to chase him. I'm not going to kill someone from, you know what I mean? So then once I enlarged the license plate, it was a government license plate. Then
you can run the tags. Did you run the tags on Google?
I have. I have friends that are police officers, and they said they can get in a lot of trouble if they run the license plate. I have a license plate, and I haven't found someone who will. I guess if a police officer runs government tags, they can get in a lot of trouble, and I don't know why that is.
No. Just put that number into Google. That's what you do.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll do that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know that. I mean, I know that they're trying to intimidate me, and I get it, and so the scariest one was it snowed here, and I was by myself, and I was coming home, and I was going to make a left turn into my driveway, and all of a sudden this car came, and it looked like a black police car. It wasn't like a truck or anything. And he as I'm trying to turn into my driveway, he stopped. So now we're face to face. Like he's going the opposite direction, and we're looking at each other. And he just stops and stares at me. And he had like a red and black plaid shirt and like a hat. And he just glared at me, and he wouldn't move. Like I couldn't get in my driveway. So at that point, I grabbed my cell phone again. Thank God for cell phones. And then as I start videotaping him, there was snow like on our street to the point where like the tires started like spinning, and he took off. And I look, and it was a government license plate as well. And that was like the last government, like anything that's happened since then. This is interesting.
Well, go ahead.
So I have a lot of media, like, can you please give us your story? So this man called me, and his name is Chris Farnsworth, and he said, "Hi, I'm with the New York Post." And I said, "Oh, hi." And he was super nice to me at the beginning. And I started telling him my story, and and he said, "Thank you for doing this interview for the New York Post." And I said, "Thank you. I'm learning as I'm going along not to trust because, I said," he goes, "So what kind of evidence do you have?" And I said, "Oh, I have a lot of DNA evidence." And he said, "I need it." And I said, "No, I can't send it to you until we go to court, and you can get it's public record. You can have whatever you want once we go to court." And then he totally turned aggressive on me. He's like, "Send it to me now. I want it now. Email it to me." And I said, "No." And I said, "No, first of all, don't push me around." I'm like, no, it's not, I'm not going to send you anything, especially the way you're talking to me. Basically, he got very aggressive, and then he became nice, and he was trying to convince me to send it. And I said, "No, I cannot send you this information. This is for the courts." So I hang up with him. I was really upset. And then 3 days later, I get a call. They're like, "Hi, we're from the New York Post. Can we do an interview with you?" And I go, "Wait a second." Who was 3 days ago, I talked to the New York Post. Are you telling me you're the New York Post? He said, "Yes, we could send you our media ID, whatever." So the person, whoever was calling me, wasn't from the New York Post at all. And he became very aggressive once I said, "I'm not going to send you what I have. DNA evidence, no." No. And to me, I believe he was someone that was pretending to be a reporter, and he wasn't. And that's what's frustrating for me, and
okay, so let's get to the court case. What stage of it are you at right now?
So Todd and I are a team, we're helping each other. So basically Todd called me and said, because I'm a single mom. I struggle financially, and I need an attorney, but the paperwork that you read, my writ of mandate, that's what it's called, my complaint to the courts of what I want to be changed. I don't want money. I want them to do their job. It's called derelict of duty, which means their mission statement is we are to protect the game and the public from national parks or trails. And basically, the first thing I want is species protection, because not that they can protect themselves, but we're all over their woods cutting down trees. And it's just, I want some kind of protection from them, because I don't want people killing them, and shooting them, and people are going to get hurt. So that's my number one. Second of all is when somebody calls and says, "I had a Sasquatch encounter," or "Can you please help me?" Don't go out there and say you saw a bear, or you're crazy, or you're delusional. Don't make people feel stupid. It's already hard enough to make that phone call. And it's help the person go through it. In fact, to the point where what happened was a man named Bobby Garcia, he's an attorney from Texas. He started calling Todd, not me, but Todd. And he talked to Todd for hours. "Look, I can help her win this case, but what she needs to do is stop what she's doing." And it's called, I postponed the court case without prejudice, which means he told Todd that if I go into court with the paperwork that we wrote, that they're going to eat me alive and I'm going to lose, and I only get one chance at this. So Todd would talk to him for hours, and he was very I have 250 employees. I'm one of the best attorneys here in Texas. I'll do her pro bono. And I'm asking Todd, why isn't he talking to me? I am the California girl that's suing. You're Canada. You're a different, country. This is, why is he not calling me, Todd? And Todd would say, because he has a legal obligation once he talks to you that he has to take your court case, but he doesn't want to, he wants you to stop it without prejudice. And then he's going to come in, Bobby Garcia, and then we're going to do it the right way. And he said, basically, the judge that I had picked, I heard was no bueno. Like, they said, if his name is Judge Cohn. And he said, we are going to pick, like, the judge. We are going to do this. And he was very, very convincing. So Todd called me and said, Claudia, this is big, but I had a court case for, I think it was, I don't know, March. I don't remember the date, but he said, I need you to stop the court case without prejudice. And now Bobby's going to come in and he's going to help us. Like, he's going to do you pro bono. And I literally cried because I said, thank you, God. I've been praying, like, please, I need an attorney. I need someone to help me with this. I know nothing about the law. And so the day before the deadline, Bobby Garcia, the secretary, calls me and she's like, are you going to stop the court case without prejudice? And I said, yes. And I said, this is a big decision for me because even if I don't have an attorney, I'm still going to go to the judge and fight for what I believe in. I'm still going to I'm going to do the best I can. And I said, I will do it, but I want to make sure that he is going to, like, represent me. And they said, of course he will. Of course he will. Well, I stopped the court case like he told me to without prejudice, did the court paperwork, filed it. That's like $1,600 just to file, like, paperwork alone. So, and now if I have to refile, I have to pay another $1,600 to file it again. But it's okay though, because I want to do it right. I only get one chance at this. And basically, I've been calling Bobby Garcia saying, okay, so what are you doing now? Well, now we're just getting permission to represent you because I'm a Texas lawyer. I'm getting permission from the state of California to represent you. And I said, okay, so, like, how long does that take? And he said, well, there's a lot of legalities. Like, I have to find an office where you live so you can come in and we could talk. Like, there's a lot of legal. He said the legal wheels do turn, Claudia, but they turn very slow, but they are turning. Just be patient. I said, okay. Because I have people that are depending on me. You know, I don't want to fail. And so basically, this has been now like 5 months, 6 months almost, and he doesn't even call me, doesn't respond to my phone calls, nothing. So basically, Todd said, we stopped this because of you. And he said, now, can you show us proof that you are getting permission from the state of California to help? And he's like, no. He's like, you're not going to push me around. Like, I'm the attorney. And basically what happened was he cut me off. And now I was talking to Steve Murillo, and he's like, you were set up. You were basically set up. But the good thing is that I could still, like, I could do it the right way. I'm looking for an attorney now, you know, to do, like, pro bono if they can help me. Well, but a lot of attorneys don't want to touch me because they're afraid it's going to hurt their practice, you know. And what I saw that day, Jimmy, it was flesh and blood. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like a ghost. There wasn't, you know, this was a huge animal, you know, animalistic, but I saw a soul in his eyes, like human, like it was, I can't really describe the feeling that when I was looking at in his eyes, I could see intelligence in his eyes. Like, they're very intelligent, you know, but I believe
this attorney in Texas told you to stop the case.
Yes.
And you filed the case on, I'm looking at it here, January 18th, 2018, filed, right?
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Received. I'm looking at the entire statement here. I've read through it a few times. And he had you stop this. And now we are on July 30th, 2018. And
nothing's been done.
And I'm going to say this, and I hope he listens to this show.
Okay.
I am not stupid. And for an attorney to represent somebody here in the state of California, all you need is permission. You just pick up the phone, you call the bar, and you do it. And especially a case like this. You don't, the wheels of justice run slow. Whatever. That's a bunch of BS. And he can walk this through. And that, I'm offended by that. I'm
offended too.
And I agree with Murillo. Something's a little bit funky here. And especially if you are going to go, and I hope he listens to this, if you're going to go and say, hey, I know you're in California, I'm in Texas, I'm going to handle this. Well, then you handle your business. You know exactly what you have to do, and it's quite simply, it's a formality thing. And this isn't a capital murder case. It's not that kind of situation here. And so if you're going to say that you're going to do it, you follow through and you just take care of business and you get it done. To drag your feet for now we're halfway through the year. Over halfway through the year, and to do a dance like that is very uncool. So,
and after I stopped it, he finally talked to me, and I said, he goes, look, I really wanted to talk to you, but you had to do this. You had to stop it. And I said, you know what? That's okay if I stop it, but let's get it done. Why do you
have to stop it? Why doesn't he just take over the kid? I'm not buying into what he's selling.
No, I don't either. And I believe it was all planned. And now it's I have trust issues now because I know when you hire an attorney, you have to sign a contract with them. You know what I mean? Something and I'm like, are you going to send me that so I could sign it? You're going to represent me. One day I was so upset that I got on Facebook Live. He's not a friend of mine on Facebook. And I started telling, I have a lot of followers. And I said, look, the case is not stopped. This is what's happening. I've been calling Bobby Garcia. He is not responding to any of my phone calls. I'm really frustrated. And right now I really don't know what to do. I was so frustrated. And within 4 minutes, my cell phone rings and it was Bobby Garcia's office. They're like, we have over 250 employees that are going to be able to help you. I'm one of the best attorneys in Texas. And it's so frustrating because they were just BSing me the whole time. And I felt so hurt.
And when was this?
It's so hard.
When was this Facebook Live?
Probably 3 months ago.
3 months ago. And you still haven't heard anything since?
No. Yeah. Well, apparently, Todd said, look, we're going to give you to the end of the week. If you don't do anything, we're just going to we're going to refile it again because you basically you are the reason why we stopped this because she already had a court case. This could have already been in the works, and we believed you.
Right.
We have faith in you. And I told Todd, something's not right. Why is he not calling me? What if he's part of the government? Why?
Yeah.
It's just but I'm not going to stop. It makes me even more feisty, and my fight is so strong, Jimmy, that, and you know why I'm doing this? It's because I want people to know the truth. It's
What's
not
his
okay that
name
people
again?
go missing.
Bobby Garcia?
Yeah.
I'm sure, Bobby, have somebody from your office email me, and I'm very visible, and tell me why you're dragging your feet.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break here. I want to do a little overtime. I don't want to wrap yet, if that's okay, Claudia.
Okay. No, of course.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's such a fascinating situation where the media did pick up on this and ran with the story, and it's out there. It does need to move forward. But what I think is interesting here was that your angle from the beginning is just to recognize Bigfoot, to recognize Sasquatch. So when somebody calls up and says, hey, I had a sighting or my children were injured or whatever, and you call in, that they say, okay, where was it? That they don't go into a denial side of this and telling you that you didn't see what you are saying here. You saw something else, and that is what you're doing.
Yeah, she didn't even say hey, take me out there. I want to see. I want to go see. Nothing. Nothing. It didn't even happen.
Right.
This is public safety. You know what I mean? It's so that's what bothered me. It's you're not even doing your job. It's derelict of their duty. At least do an investigation. Don't make people feel stupid. I know there's people that lie out there, but there's a lot of people that are they feel ridiculed. They don't want to call because of this, and that's not okay. And I want to change that. And I'm going to do everything in my power and my soul. And I'm dedicated that if I don't win this case, maybe in 5, 10, 15, 100 years, people are going to look at my case and say, you know what? She tried this angle. Let's try this avenue. There's always something positive that will come out of anything that we try, as far as the conspiracy stuff, it's not okay. I'm also starting, this is one thing that I want to talk about after the break or whatever, but I'm starting a national PTSD group for people who have had bad encounters, and have nowhere to go. So basically, I'm picking one person from each state. I know a lot of people, I get 30 messages a day on Messenger, people thanking me, like, thank you, I have them on my property. I'm so scared, like, I don't know what to do. Like, they don't know who to go to. Like, there's no help for them. So what I'm doing is I'm picking one person from each state, and they are responsible for picking for people in their cities, opening, like, maybe renting a classroom, or like I have to make sure that they're safe, because we want safety for the people that open up their homes. And we don't want them to go to homes. We want them to go to a public place, like a church. They can rent a room and have like kind of an AA setting type meeting where there's going to be rules. Like, if somebody needs to share their experience, you can't put your opinion in it. Just let them talk, let them listen, let them know they're not alone. And that's starting like soon. I'm putting that together as well to help people, and it's free to the public.
Yeah,
so
right on.
Anybody could go. So.
Right on. Let's take a break right here. Let's do a little overtime. Okay. Claudia Ackley is here. It is a Bigfoot type of evening right here on Fade to Black. And you can email Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. And I'll be right back. We're going to do a little overtime with Claudia. Stay with me.
To my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at naturesyouth.com. Naturesyouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. An amazing start to this week. Tonight, Claudia Ackley is with us, Bigfoot evening. Tomorrow night, Dr. Michael P. Masters is going to join us, and we're going to talk about his new book, Identified Flying Objects. And go and read about Dr. Masters' background, and you can do that over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Tomorrow night's going to be an amazing show. And then Wednesday night, we're doing a Ouija night with Karen Dahlman. That's right. I've been waiting for this for a while. So there you go. And then Thursday night is Fader night. Open lines all night long. John Rappaport is going to be here. And Matthew Ryan will be our special guest. He's going to be with us up at ECETI Ranch next week in Washington. He'll be teaching. So we'll take phone calls with Matthew all night on Thursday. Now, Claudia, what I wanted to ask you, the community up there, the Big Bear Lake Arrowhead community is small. It's tight. Everybody knows everybody that lives up there. What's it like? What's it like for you around town? Does everybody know who you are now?
Well, like sometimes, like I'll be walking on the grocery store and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're the Bigfoot girl!" Like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool." And there's some people that give me dirty looks, and it's fine, you know. But it's a lot of support, you know. Like I had like Josh Gates came up here. He's a great person.
Yes, he's cool.
Les Stroud, who is like a Survivor man, he's been a great supporter of mine. And there's a young kid. His name is Matoki, and he has like 2 million subscribers. Like, and he does like karaoke stuff, but he's fascinated with my story. He came up here and he actually went to the grocery store without me and said, "Hey, have you heard about, like, what do you think about the Sasquatch?" And he said, like, half of the people knew who you were, like, and they commend you because that's scary to go to court. You know, but I'm not afraid. It's like, I feel like I have a lot of hope and I have a lot of support, and I feel like the people that want to think negative of me, that's okay, but I know what I saw with my daughters, and I'm doing this to help people, not for myself. This is not for myself, you know, and I want to make that very clear, because I was interviewed by another big YouTuber, and it's called Chatting With, and he was a skeptic, and he said, well, like, he's like, they don't exist. And I said, well, how do you know? Like, he's like, well, that Patterson footage is it's a costume. And I'm like, well, did you know that year, like, Planet of the Apes came out, and Hollywood has a lot of money with a lot of costumes, and that's the best they can come up with. If you see the Patterson footage, you could see her muscles, you could see her breasts, you could see, you know, she has a hernia on her leg. I know Bob Gimlin, he's gonna testify. He's flying down here to help me testify because it was filmed in California, and he's a great, wonderful person, and that's someone you should interview because he is so humble and so genuine. And just as a person, you just fall in love with him because he went through a lot of ridicule like we all go through, you know, and he kept strong. And they offered him $1 million. Well, if you just say what's a hoax, we'll give you $1 million. He's like, no, you know, and I love that about people, you know, and I just want to help people, and I want them to know that they're not alone.
Have there been any other sightings up there since yours?
Oh yeah. There's one who's a police officer, and his name is Theo, and he went like on his first date with this girl, and he's like a tough guy. He's a police officer. He carries a .45, and he said we were literally walking on this trail, and they showed themselves. They were like growling, like, and he said he was terrified, and he's been interviewed like on Sasquatch Chronicles. There's been many sightings here, but like, who reports it? Like, we're, and people say, well, we don't find like body, like, and I said, well, honestly, if you ever go hiking and you see a bone, are you going to take that bone and have a DNA test and say what kind of animal is this from? Like, animals, they get eaten when they die out there. I don't know why we don't have a body. I don't have answers, but I wish I could find a dead body of a Sasquatch. That would be great, but I can't, so we have DNA, like, that is not, it's unexplainable. So, like, how is it that you could deny? Like, if when you go to court, say it was murder, and you have all these eyewitnesses, and it's like, I believe that when there's so many witnesses saying, okay, yeah, I saw her kill this person, and there's like 20 people saying, I saw it, most likely they're going to believe you because there's all these witnesses. Why is it different? Because it's a Sasquatch. There's so many people that have sightings. Thousands of people have sightings all over the world. And there's a lot more sightings now than there's ever been in the last 10 years. If I showed you some of the pictures that people send me, it's very, 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 there's things like a moose. I have a picture of a moose that this man has Sasquatch on his property. He's seen them. And one day he went out to the woods and he found a moose wrapped around a tree. You know how heavy they are and big.
Right.
And, I have all these pictures that people send me, of even the creatures themselves. But I tell people, even if you have the best footage of a Sasquatch, people are still going to say, oh, that's a costume. It's never going to be enough. But DNA will prove us. We have, Dr. Meldrum, he's going to testify.
Well, I wanted to get to that. You've given Steve and Alex some samples. What did you give them?
It was a hair sample, and if you have that hair sample and you put it under the scope and you shine light on it, it changes colors, which has never been seen by any other. So, like, you'll see, like, I'll send it to you, like, there's some green in the hair, there's red, it's odd, it's something we can't explain. I have them.
Where did you get that?
That came from Florida. There's a researcher named Mark Zinsky, a very dedicated man, has really good, like, sightings of them, and he's been knocked down by them. And he sent me the hair, and he's like, I'll help you with whatever I can. I'll send you anything I can. Right now I have, like, basically what I do is I get, like, double-sided duct tape, and then I go, like, 8 feet up on a tree. I wrap a bunch of duct tape around this tree, and then I leave bacon grease on top of the tape. So when they're, like, it could be a bear or deer or whatever, but it's 8 feet up on a tree, and basically that's how we're collecting hair, to see if it's Sasquatch hair as we're reaching for the bacon grease.
So that's smart.
But there's a lot of, like, so we're trying to, and then we have string, like, thread, and it's about 8 feet. So if it's broken, we know something 8 feet or higher has broken through these trees. It's things that we're trying to, like, get, the DNA and everything we need from it.
Do you go out every day and walk that trail?
I used to by myself because that's when I would get more interaction because I believe they're there. And like one time I had 7 pine cones being thrown at me by myself. And first, like, it hit me in the back, and it didn't hit me, but I heard it fall. And I'm thinking, okay, well, a pine cone just fell off.
Sure.
But then I started looking around, and now the pine cones were coming from left to right, not up and down, and that was my sign. I need to go. Like, I'm scared. Like, I'm a girl, like, and I feel like if there was a male with us that day with my daughters, I don't think they would have showed themselves. But when they see 3 girls, and, my daughter is in puberty, I think they were curious of us. They were thinking, like, this is...
It was family.
Here's 3 girls.
I was family hanging out with another family.
Yeah.
No, I'm being serious. I'm being serious. You're female, 3 females,
yeah.
Right? You're a mom.
Yeah.
You're out there with your kids, and it may have been another mom with her 2 kids.
Maybe. I didn't ask my daughter if she thought she thinks they were males, but we didn't see their gender. I didn't see the 2 of them that ran across my daughter, but my daughter said they ran so fast. And this is interesting to me. She said that it was looking at her as it was running forward. And if you see all the terrain, like, who does that? Like, when I'm running, I'm looking to see, like, make sure I don't fall over like a log, or but they're so stealthy that they just ran without even looking at where they're going. That's how stealthy they are. I've heard stories where they've seen them actually belly crawl, and they say they look like spiders, like they run with their toes. Like it's amazing, like their stealthiness. It's amazing. It's just.
Why do you think? Why do you think we've never found a dead one, a carcass, a skull, a skeleton?
I believe that possibly they bury their own. I mean, I don't know. Like, I know they dig, and I just don't know. I don't have answers. There's so many questions and not enough answers that we're trying to get, and we just don't know enough about them. But we're learning because, I mean, there's been hunters out there like that are looking through the scope, and they see two of them, and they're actually talking to each other and using hand signals. And which is like us, like we talk to each other, and I've heard many stories like that, that they have language and they talk to each other, they communicate, they use hand gestures when they're looking through like a scope. A hunter will say like, and the interesting thing is that when some hunters are like on a tree stand and they say that they see one walking and they're so terrified and they cannot believe what they're looking at, that right away the Sasquatch turns around and looks at them. It's not like they look around to see if they turn around and look exactly where the hunter is, like at a tree stand, which I thought was interesting. Like I never hear them say, well, I saw one coming out and it started like looking around and then it found me. They always say it turned around and looked straight at me, like it knew where it was. It's just interesting, the stories that I hear, it's just.
What about UFO?
I don't know.
Have you ever seen, do you think there's a UFO connection, an ET connection?
Yes.
Have you seen lights or anything strange when you've had your encounters?
I haven't, but there is a friend of mine named Adam Davies who's a very scientific person, and he's high in the research Bigfoot community. And basically, he went with a doctor named Dr. Matthew Johnson, who had an area called Soha. And it was Matt Johnson, Dr. Johnson, and he brought Adam Davies and John Carlson. John Carlson is kind of new in the Bigfoot world. He just kind of came along for the ride. And Adam Davies is like, he learns about like the Sasquatch species. And he said that night, basically, Matt won't allow any flashlights, any fire. And he has this area. And when Adam came and talked to me, he came over for dinner, and he wasn't talking to the public, but Matt Johnson kept saying, tell him what happened. Tell him what happened that night. And basically he said that he saw, it was Matt Johnson fell asleep, and it was Adam and John just sitting in the woods, bored basically. And they said they saw a beam of light. And then he said at first it was like a big beam of light, and it was in the middle of the trail, so they couldn't leave in the car if they wanted to because this light just showed up. And then he said that all of a sudden he sees like flickers, like firecrackers that starts turning into like a circle. And then he said that and then it was kind of like misty. And then he said that he saw like through like the portal, like that opened. And he said it looked like dead vegetation. And he said these two creatures came out. He said they were about 3 feet tall with red eyes. And John and like, they're trying to shake Matt Johnson saying, wake up, something's happening. Matt will not wake up, like almost in a coma state. And basically Adam said that these two creatures came out, and Adam was asking John, do you see these two black creatures with red eyes? And he's like, yes, like, what are they? And then John said something like out loud, if you think that we're going to fall asleep so you could do stuff to us tonight, you're totally wrong. And at that point, he said that their aggression on their face, and they started running towards Adam and John. And basically, Adam like started tearing up because he's really having a hard time with what he saw because he's so scientific. And he basically said that all he had was his flashlight, and he turned on the flashlight and shined it at them. And within seconds, everything disappeared. But then within 4 minutes, it starts to reinfest itself. Like the light of beam comes back on, the flickers come on. And he said they battled them for 2 nights straight. And I asked Adam questions like, if it was so traumatic for you that first night, why did you stay the second night? And he said, because I wanted to see if it would happen again, and he said we could not wake up Matt for anything. He would not wake up. We were shaking him. He's like 7 feet tall. He's a big guy. But Adam is very scientific, and he had such a hard time. Even he goes, "How do I tell the public what happened to me, Claudia? Like how?" I said, "You start speaking the truth and be confident. Like, you know, do portals exist? You know, apparently." And then I talked to John Carlson and asked questions like, "What was the dog doing, Atlas, at this moment?" Because I was trying to see if they were being honest, you know, and he said he was sleeping with Matt. Like the dog didn't even react. The dog was out too. And basically, so what happened was I took Adam back with Ed, the three of us. We went back without telling anybody to this area in Oregon. And I said, "You need closure. So we're going to be out there all night." And we had crazy stuff happen that night with Adam and I. It was crazy. Ed fell asleep because he had to drive us back home. He was a driver, so he slept. And we had the car parked to like exit the woods as soon as possible. You know what I mean? As fast as we could. But it's like an eerie feeling there. Like you left feeling like depressed. It was like it wasn't like a beauty, like, oh, that was fun. It was a horrible night. Things happened that was scary. Like no beam or anything happened that night that I was with Adam. But I basically took Adam there so he could have closure and I said, "Scream at them. Tell them whatever you want to say. Don't be afraid." And he did. And he got better. And now he's talking and now he's doing interviews with his experience. You might want to talk to him about his experience too. But, yeah. And I walked around like the area, and it's basically like a circle, and then there's trees around the circle. And I walked around and I found like huge footprints and little footprints, like they're watching like that area, you know, like they're watching us. It was really we saw like orbs, like lights of orbs, and I took pictures of it. I have pictures of it. So it was a pretty scary night.
Yeah, last year we were up at ECETI, and Rita and I, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. We left 1:30 to our hotel, and right after we left, Lorcan O'Toole, the actor Peter O'Toole's son, Lorcan, he's there.
Yeah,
and they had a sighting right there, and we missed it. And we got back the next morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that, early. And he comes running up to us. "Man, you just missed it last night, right after you left. I was walking right where you parked your car, right here, Bigfoot." And the way he described it, it was taller than the van that was parked next to us. Yeah, but the thing is we just left.
Oh.
We just left, and there was a couple of witnesses, and that same night, Jason quit. I don't know if you know Jason, but he's in his cabin, and there was a window there that couldn't shut. It was like stuck open, and somebody shut it from the outside, and
oh my God,
yeah, and all of this went down, and I just missed it. Clyde Lewis at ECETI 2 years ago had a very famous sighting up there. They were calling it Teen Wolf, where he saw a teenaged Sasquatch, came right up and looked in his cabin door, the same cabin that I'm talking about, Jason Quitt was staying in. And it took off and ran into the woods, and they went out and tried to chase it and lost it. But he said he said it looked like Teen Wolf. You know, that's the only way that he could explain it. That it was definitely young.
Did it have like pointy ears? Because now people are talking about Dogman sightings and the rake. I don't know if you've ever Googled the rake or, but, I hear so many, because a lot of people message me, and I'm not going to say, well, Dogmans don't exist. Like, who am I to say that? Like, Sasquatch exists. What else is out there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's So, and there's a woman that I love to death, and I met her through Facebook. She heard about my court case. She's a single mom. She has an autistic son. He's very severely autistic. So when I talk to her on the phone pretty much every day, she's alone. She lives in the woods. She lives on a street, but there's woods all around her. And she says that every single house is vacant. She sees people move in, and then people move out like 3 months later. And she says she can't afford to move because she struggles financially. But she'll literally send me pictures of them, like outside her window. I'll send them to you, and you could see them. And she's like, I'm terrified living here. Like every night I have to close all my windows. And she said they get mad at me because when she moves, like there's structures or X markers and stuff. She said they're fascinated with like her house, and her son screams a lot. And I'm wondering if there's some kind of connection with that, autistic behavior. She has to basically lock the doors like way high up because he's 15 now, and he tries to run and he points at them, like the son points at them. And it's just, it's very interesting. But the picture she has shown me is amazing, and I want to fly out there and just I want to go out there. I want to see what she's seeing.
Where's she at?
And she's in Ironwood, Michigan.
Okay.
She has given me not permission to use her name. She's afraid of it. She went to her pastor because she had no one else to talk to, and he basically ridiculed her and said, like, you need to be on medication. You're overtired because your son. And she felt like so ashamed. And I said, no, you shouldn't feel that way. I believe you. So she's a really good person, and I want to help her as much as I can.
Yeah, I've been on the fence when it comes to Bigfoot. I've had many interviews with witnesses, and I've talked to so many people, and like Lorcan O'Toole, he's somebody that was really freaked out after his sighting, but I haven't had my experience yet. So, I'm still, when it comes to UFOs, I've had my sightings. I've had my strange ghost things. I've seen orbs. I'm cool with fairies. I've had, but I haven't had my Bigfoot experience yet. And we're headed up to ECETI, up to Washington next week. And I'm definitely prepared for it. I really want to, cross the line, and I've got an open mind when it comes to everything, but I haven't had my Bigfoot sighting yet.
If you, I'll invite you. I know a lot of people, and I want to let you know because I told Steve and Alex, I said, if you guys want to experience like serious activity, come with us and we'll take you. And if you want to experience it, if you can take like 4 days, it's at night when everything starts happening. But I would love to, that offer will always be there for you. I'll be happy to take you to like active areas, people like on their property, so you could actually experience them for maybe even have a sighting. Well, there's a lot of people that have properties that have them on their property. And I'll send you pictures that they send me so you can see them.
I want to see I'll keep them to myself. I won't share them, but send me the pictures from the lady up in Michigan.
They gave me permission.
Yeah, I would like to see those. Well, Claudia, fascinating conversation tonight. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us. The video is...
Jimmy, thank you for helping people, because you help a lot of people too, so I'm grateful to you. Truly, from my heart.
Well, and what is most important here, and you just brought this up, is people need to share. They'll listen to you, and they'll know that that they can share, and they can call me anytime and share and talk about it, because when somebody shuts you down, like the lady from Michigan and her pastor, that's just not cool. I mean, it's just not. It's just not. So thank you for pointing that out. Okay.
Of course. And if anybody has any questions, I'm on Facebook too, and I'd be happy to help as many. I get busy a lot, and sometimes it takes me days to get back. But if anybody ever needs to talk or whatever that I could do to help, I'm there to help.
You've got to get over to On Stellar, and
I started it.
Oh, you did?
I just have to add some profile pictures in my story, my bio, and stuff.
Okay.
So I'll probably do that tomorrow for sure.
Send me a friend request, will you?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Be safe out there, okay?
I will. Thank you, Jimmy, so much.
Thank you, Claudia.
Have a wonderful night. And thank you, all you listeners, for listening to my story. And God bless all of you. And I wish you nothing but a happy life. So thank you so much.
Right on. And I'll be in touch with you about that attorney. Okay, I've got some ideas.
Oh, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Have
a good night.
You too.
Okay. Well, good.
Claudia Ackley, everybody. Now, her Facebook page is right there at jimmychurchradio.com. and you can go and send her a friend request and follow her stuff. But she's also over at OnStellar now, OnStellar.com, OnStellar.com. Now, before I get out of here, I'm going to make one more public service announcement to everybody that is going up to ECETI next week for Soul Tech. You've got to go and get your food ordered. I'm telling you right now, get it done. All right. Now, tomorrow night is Dr. Michael P. Masters. His new book that is coming out is called Identified Flying Objects. And Michael is a PhD anthropologist that has been looking into now he does stuff all over the world. That's what he does, right, as an academic, and publishes papers. But he has been looking at this, who is visiting us. Tomorrow night's going to be one of the most fascinating shows, and I talk about the science behind all of this. And right now we're starting to make breakthroughs. Wait till you hear what he has to say about all of this. It is going to be one of the most fascinating shows probably all year that we've done right here on Fade to Black. I want to thank Claudia Ackley. Came in tonight strong. Unbelievable. Bigfoot. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.